I will never shoot Sony because whenever I shoot beauty, I can see through the model's pores what she had for breakfast.
Like, especially when you turn the cameras on ourselves, all of a sudden it's like,
Hold on. But the sharpness.
the Japanese precision.
It's all in the editing. I would like obviously add grain, there's some secrets I won't reveal.
How does a film camera actually work?
I mean, we have one here if you want a little demo.
Literally 1 year, like my friend was like, yeah, I was gonna go shoot this party. I didn't know how flash worked. Put this flash on and just run around shooting people, being drunk in the club.
Modeling for portraits specifically is a little bit harder because you have to convey a lot of emotion with your face. I mean, just small tips, like think of triangles. Like just for example, this is a triangle. Now you put this arm on your hip and like, now that's already more like shape that you're creating.
Your approach to creative learning.
Yeah, we're going to go into it. I used to...
Ladies and gentlemen, animals and aliens, welcome back to the podcast show. Today I'm doing the Creator Sessions Jam, I think part 4, so to speak. I've got Josh Heldsinger, Molly Blue, and Shane Sonder here with me. I'm very excited to join me on the pod. I think today is more of a general creative photo sort of centered discussion as opposed to all the hardcore videographers we've had on previously. So guys, thank you for joining me and welcome to the space.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, bro. Appreciate it.
Josh, you today on Instagram released something, I think you called it your bucket shot.
Yes.
I was reading through the caption before while you were sort of driving here and trying to kind of figure out what that was all about. What exactly is the story? All I saw was this gorgeous shot of Table Mountain.
Well, basically, the idea for the bucket shot is kind of like, there's like a few bucket shots that I have in mind of like different shots I want to take and like things that are on my list of photographs that like I want to capture before I die. I'm like, I want this type of shot. And when I discovered that Cape Town has this fog that rolls in every year from January to June, we have like our fog season where the fog gets like super thick in the bay, or will like roll over Lion's Head or get really high up Table Mountain.
It's been driving me nuts because like every time there's fog, all the ships in the harbor, they have their fog horns going every night. Yeah. And like every night, it's like every 15 seconds, like But this is not one ship and they've all got different tones. So it's like this weird like orchestra.
That woke us up one morning and that actually made us go on one of our fog chasing missions as well recently because we just woke up from the foghorn.
Are you guys hearing it your side of the mountain? In Gardens as well?
Gardens in his apartment, yeah.
That's a little
Can't
crazy.
hear it my side at all.
Oh,
luckily.
No, when I'm in Molniton, I don't hear anything.
Yeah, you guys, that's the right side of the bay to be on.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, don't even stress. Like, yeah, because the fog comes like up to my windows and then like we were like sleeping, there was just what? They were like, okay, and we open the curtains and there's fog up against me and we're like, okay, let's go, signal here, let's go. But this particular mission with the photograph that I took was taken on the 6th of Jan, on the morning of the 6th of Jan for sunrise. And I just saw there was going to be fog the one morning on like the Windy app, or I heard it somewhere. There were rumors somewhere. Like obviously all the creators are chatting on WhatsApp. We all know like WhatsApp groups and Instagram. And everyone's like talking about conditions and stuff. And they mentioned there was going to be fog. So I just went chasing for this one photograph and woke up at like, I don't even know, it was January. So probably like 4 a.m., hit halfway up Lion's Head before sunrise at like 5 a.m. or something.
Motivated.
No, bro. I'm so committed. Like I'm an early riser anyway. Like I'm up at 5 a.m. anyway just to start the day. But it also helps when you do sunrise missions because you're up before you can see the conditions anyway. If the conditions are, obviously it's Cape Town, man. The conditions are never like predictable, dude. But yeah, that photograph, I don't know how I saw it, but one day when I saw that fog rolls in every year from January to June, I was like, I want a photograph of Table Mountain, like a pano with the sun just breaking of Devil's Peak with the whole Bay Area covered in fog. And I was like, how can I get this photograph? And then that morning when I went hunting, like I got to the spot at Lion's Head. It's not up the main chains, it's up like the side route, the alternative route, like the safe route.
Is that the portion kind of where the path sort of like splits and there's that weird like fence thing on Lion's Head that you kind of got to scale around? Just before the chains?
Yeah, like right where the chains are. So the chains are literally right ahead of you and then it says like alternative route or with chains.
Oh, okay.
And it says like entered onerous.
What is actually past that alternate route? I've never gone that side.
It's
Not
just like a different way to go up.
Often.
It's just a different way to go up.
Okay.
So you end up going around the face. So instead of going straight up over town side, you end up going around over camp space side. And then you come up around the back. It's quite cool. There's some cool views from there as well. And then that's where I got this specific photograph is I ended up kind of climbing off the path, going up like these little rock face, bumped into Jay and Carl, who are both landscape photographers, who are both parked up there with their tripods, shooting each other who had the better filter kit. And I'm just chilling there with like just my filters. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna ignore them and just get my photograph.
Because do they do all the like super long exposure things? So they've got like ND, how
sounds like it's the place to be, man. Like, geez, like finding those guys up there, that's when you know, like, cool,
Yeah.
I'm in the right place.
Right place,
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
timing, because they know when to be there.
Yeah, bro, they were there with their like, Carl's like, I'm just gonna put another 5-stop of ND on, and Jay's like, NDs must be nice. I'm at F22 because he's trying to compensate the exposure because it's 30-second exposure, so he's shooting at like F22, and Carl's like, F28 at like a 10-stop ND, and Jay's just like trying to compete with these high f-stop. Like, I'll clean up my sensor spots afterwards, type thing. But yeah, that photograph, I don't know how like I saw it, but I just got up one morning and it was just there. It was very spontaneous. Like while I was walking up, I realized the fog's at the perfect height to get the shot. And it's one of my bucket shots. I have many different bucket shots that I want, like in Cape Town and around the world, and like just want to be able to get those shots, like whatever it takes, you know. Like I steal this phrase from other people, but it's like, it's not about the photographs. It's not even about the things I do to get to those photographs. It's where photography takes you. So it's just like being able to sit on Lion's Head in this cool, crisp morning with no wind, just watching the fog roll, bantering with Jay and Carl the whole time while we're getting photographs. Like that's what made it really fun. But
Amazing.
I'm definitely going to get that printed massive. Like I just need to get it printed massive. That's
Where
my
were you
biggest goal.
thinking of getting it printed?
I do all my prints at Orms.
At Orms.
Yeah. I know there are other places to do it, but I've just had such great service there. And like I walk in and they know me by name. So I'm just like, I'm just happy to go there.
Yesterday, or depending when this is released, last week, I was chatting to Michael Faraday, and he's getting a couple of prints made as well. And he mentioned, I think he called it, I think it's wet ink. They also do, apparently it's a bit more of a boutique thing, and they do some prints and stuff as well. And he was saying it's super cool because they were taking through a process of not only like getting the color space right for like it to look good in a print, but to get it to look good in the environment that it's going to be in. So if you've got weird lights and stuff on in the rooms that's at like 7,000 Kelvin or something weird that's not like normal, you need to adjust the actual way it's printed so that it will look like it does kind of on a monitor in that environment, which I thought was so
Interesting.
cool.
Wow.
Like I'd never even thought of
Okay.
factoring that
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that
yeah,
in,
yeah.
because obviously your eyes and stuff adjust based on the space that you're in. But my experience of printing has been a couple of things where I send it to Orms, they kind of tell me it's in the right format, then I'm like, woof, okay, cool,
Okay,
great.
bye.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me of this, like, so I went to First Thursday this one night, and like third floor Youngblood, like there was this like artist there, but like the lights was pretty terrible. But literally this artist was like a light artist somehow, and like she's so
A
crazy.
light
because he did a
artist, what do you mean?
So did a painting, right? And then this girl hung lights a certain way, and it reflected on the painting, and it lit up certain parts of the painting. But like, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
That's really
And she had a little write-up just to explain what she was doing, and like it made so much sense. Like all the shadows fell perfectly, and it made like this like lady's face basically, but it fell so perfectly into the painting that like it was just like this moody, misty portrait. Literally, if you know me, I'm like a portrait guy, so it wasn't great. So crazy to see a very different element of like art like that with like light. Like you're basically playing with light, but way more than what like I think like I even do. It was very, very interesting to see.
So
Yeah.
cool, kind of like brings it to life, because like it's not just
Yeah.
it's also it in the environment, and that like I don't know, kind of transports you into the whatever the art piece is supposed to be. Sure. So have you printed any other things before, either of you, or all three of you?
Yeah, I've printed a few.
He's printed things for me. I'm still yet to print my own, but he has gifted me a few prints. So still getting in that process.
I feel like I don't know if it's just film, but like prints are kind of making a little bit of a comeback. Like everyone's kind of enjoying printing the stuff that they're actually creating and all of that. Shane, you like obviously a master of portraits.
I haven't printed any of my own work. Like that's actually quite crazy to think, but like everyone else prints my stuff. Like the work I do right now obviously goes on print. So I guess some billboard stuff I did recently, that all goes on print, and I haven't printed any of my own work. I still don't know why. I think I'm just like so busy with like so many things all at once that I don't get to that point of like printing like my work. But like yeah, I do want to exhibit at some point, because I just have like so much content that I want to get out, but I still haven't had a chance to get the content out. My Instagram just kind of stands still for like 2 months at a time, and I post like a reel or I post a photo and stuff, and it's like
It happens like that sometimes.
because I'm too busy building other people's like like things, and mine kind of just like okay, I need to get back on this. So like the printing part is definitely something I need to pursue more, especially with my work.
The big billboard prints are so fascinating to me. Where did they actually get those done? Do you have any idea? Or do you kind of just hand everything over and
I
then
don't
it
know.
magically appears?
I literally
Yo.
export them for print, and then that's it. I don't know anything other than that. I don't know where they get printed. But yeah, those are like huge, like massive prints.
Is there a different workflow that you have to go through to kind of like get them in the right format for them to print it at that large of a scale? What does it entail?
So I just export them for print. So like literally I would go like 300 DPI, like pretty standard, and obviously glossy, like matte or paper. But sometimes it's way more complicated than that. So there's like a whole different process that we sometimes have to follow, like to actually, like you mentioned earlier, make it look a certain way. Because like obviously it's up in the streets. Sometimes it's like it's one of those like matted paper that it reflects, or it's like what do you call it? It's not matty paper, glossy. Mm-hmm. So like literally where there's lights behind it, so it needs to have this gloss. So like editing for that's very, very complicated. Yeah.
What do you have to do?
I just have to like color match most of the time. So my colors have to be like actually the color, like literally like primary color, secondary colors. Like if I color match, it has to be the actual colors. I have to get it perfect. It's very, very tricky sometimes, but a lot of fun.
Crazy stuff.
Challenging, though. Yeah.
Obviously, to capture all these magnificent photos that we can one day hopefully print, we have to go out and actually go on the adventures and everything. Molly and Josh, you guys have, I think, is co-founder the right word for Creators Photo Walk?
He's more co-founder. I came on afterwards as an organizer and as the model head to also assist in that regard.
Okay.
So he's more co-founder, I'm organizer.
Why don't you give me sort of a bit of a rundown of exactly what Creators Photo Walk is, what the vision is for what you guys have planned, and then kind of what you guys have been up to? Because it seems like every week there's cool new posts.
How it was born and like how it started, because you were part of that process. And then we can obviously kind of, where we're going afterwards. So go for it.
Yeah, okay. So the way I like to describe Creators Photo Walk to people is we are the most value-driven, all-inclusive community in Cape Town. Some say the world, but we're not there yet. Like there's rumors, but like we didn't start those rumors. But basically, how the Creators Photo Walk started is there's a guy called Keegan. I won't say his like surname, but he is Fun Life Media on Instagram. And he's been like a homie of mine. We've done missions for a while, and he's like big on community and on the creative community, and especially like in Cape Town and giving back. And after COVID, he kind of hit me up one day and he was like, hey, I know that you and Josh Ferreira are working on a community. So that's a different story, is that Josh Ferreira and myself, who Josh Ferreira is also now a co-founder, him and myself were forming a different community of just the two of us. We were going to call it Cape Town Shooters. And we were doing all this back-end work, like brainstorming Discords, WhatsApp groups, Instagram. Like we were doing so much brainstorming on this, but we just couldn't get the ball rolling. And then one day, like literally out of the blue, Keegan sent me a voice note. He's like, hi bro, what's up? And like lists out this idea. He's like, I want to start a community called Creators Photo Walk. I've got Hendrik on board. And Hendrik is now also another one of our co-founders. And kind of pitched this idea of this community that just meets up and just has fun. Like there's no kind of parameters or rules or like it's kind of...
Is it kind of like photographers, models, just any creative sort of people?
Yeah, kind of an all-inclusive space. So even if you want to be a creator, but you just have like an iPhone 8, for example, you're welcome. Or if
Okay,
you're
so iPhone 7 doesn't make the cut.
It's like, we have to draw the line somewhere,
Apparently Android's not even on the list.
But I'm just referencing, okay, fine. Even if you have a Nokia 310, like we're all inclusive. Like if you have a phone that you want to shoot on, anywhere from like the lowest end phones to, let's say you rock up with a red Komodo X, like you're fine. We want to include everyone, models, videographers, photographers, like we've had like people come through that are like stuntmen and athletes just to get content made for them, but they just want to like come and have fun and introduce themselves.
I think I saw one of your Cape Town missions where there was a guy just like parkouring on the rocks.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the first ever one. Yeah.
That was our opening one at Maiden's Cove. So anyway, but after founding it with Keegan, so then the co-founders came together, myself, Josh Ferreira, Keegan and Hendrik, and we started it. And we hosted our first meetup, which was that one exactly where the guy was parkouring on the rocks. That's actually Monkey Mark.
I brought him with me.
Yes, that's where I met Miles, and that's where Miles came onto the picture as well. So she came to that photo walk, and
I just ended up being in front of everyone's cameras. I came with my camera bag with the intention to obviously like explore photography realm more, because I've always been in front of the camera more. And then I came with my camera bag, and then I just started I did like one pose for one person, and it was like kind of like game over.
And then everyone was like, okay, cool, it's modeling time.
Yeah, like after a while, I mean, do you still have more you want to say?
No, I was just going to basically say that after a while, unfortunately, Creative Photo demanded so much attention that Keegan eventually left to focus on his own goals, and we see him as like the godfather of the creator of the Creative Photo Walk.
Okay,
And
so
then,
there's a little photo pinned on a wall somewhere.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah. He's there in black and white, everything, with his favorite drone there that's already broken because he crashes his drones. It's just there. That's about all. But otherwise, yeah. So then we brought Molly on to kind of head the model side and organize stuff, and then now the 4 members are myself, Josh Rera, Hendrik, or I'm Hendrik Creates on Instagram, and then us 2 as well. And then we run the system at the moment.
Amazing. Molly, is it difficult kind of, when you say heading up the modeling side, is it difficult getting a lot of people excited to come and, I'm going to say, model for people? Or is that also another side of the collaborative sort of experience?
At first, like at Maiden's Cove, like I think when it comes to like modeling, a lot of people are also shy, especially when it comes to these all-inclusive communities where people are quite like new to being in front of the camera.
And you might not know who's going to kind of be there and who's going to be like capturing things where it's going to go.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, also like I said, like you don't want to be the only person at the meetup modeling for people as well when you want to like do other things. So I just also approached them with the idea of like, hey, like I know quite a lot of models in Cape Town because also I've been doing modeling for quite a while. I did self-portraits, but that's like a whole different thing as well. And I just kind of suggested to them like, hey, it would be really cool if we can have like models at these meetups so that people can have more to shoot than just like the landscapes or the interiors of the venue that we're using. And yeah, I mean, like at first, like I would make like separate groups and I would send mood boards based on the location that we were using and stuff. And models actually did start pulling through quite nicely. And some girls even like made their own outfits that they brought with. And yeah, it really made an impact in terms of like, yeah, just having models around to shoot with. And then it just kind of became like a more natural thing where obviously they got more comfortable and they came to more meetups. So there's not a lot of organizing in terms of that, but with where we want to head as well, there will be more organizing involved because we want to look at doing like studio sessions and portrait sessions and stuff like that where we'll obviously need like proper studio lighting and setups and people willing to like be at the station. So, but yeah, I really enjoy it a lot. I feel like with my self-portraits and modeling, I'm quite good with helping people pose because I feel like that's also something, that's where people actually like, they get shy because they don't really know how to get a pose.
If we can get a quick sort of crash course, what does it take to kind of be, I think most of or at least my experience has very much been on one side of the camera, not on the other side. And I think a lot of the time as sort of creators, so to speak, we're kind of oblivious to what it takes to actually be on the other side. Like especially when you turn the cameras on ourselves, all of a sudden it's like,
hold on.
Scary.
I have noticed that with this one, even like when I turn the camera on him, it's like he always does this like either tongue out thing or this like little smile he does. And I'm like, can you just be natural? And he's like, I don't know how to do that.
I'm the same. I have to pull a funny face. I don't know what to do.
My classic is just a...
Yeah.
It's funny, you're one of those guys.
Or it's like the point to the person next to you.
So in a nutshell, what do you think kind of it takes to kind of be comfortable on the other side of the camera?
So for me, it's always just about like being authentic. I mean, I know that's always like such a hard thing to kind of do in today's society and stuff like that, but it also depends on like the type of modeling you want to do. I would say like modeling for portraits specifically is a little bit harder because you have to convey a lot of emotion with your face and with your eyes and how you interact with the camera. But when it comes to like more full body poses, just small tips, like obviously if you're standing like still, like there's nothing, like it just looks boring. But like my biggest like cue for people is think of triangles. Like the more triangles you can create, the better. Like just for example, this is a triangle. Now you put this arm on your hip and like now that's already more like shape that you're creating within that realm. And yeah, I mean, it's just like a big thing for me as well is especially when it comes to portraits and knowing what your facial expressions look like is to actually just go home and look in the mirror. Like if there's a certain expression you want to like convey to the camera, but you don't know how to like pull your lip or like how big your eyes are going to be, like just go home and practice in the mirror. And I think that's also where my self-portraits are. Like I started with self-portraits for like both my photography and my modeling because I mean I had to do both. So yeah, I mean that's obviously where I think I got really comfortable before I stepped in front of the camera for anyone else. So yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I think it also like depends on the photography you're working with as well. I find like for me to like
100%.
make the model more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like obviously like strangers can meet and it's like, like the model's not really comfortable with me. She doesn't really know me. So actually what I would do is I'd find common ground. So just chat nonsense, like, like random stuff like you mentioned earlier, like Marvel or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, not really a big Marvel fan, but like, just doesn't really matter. But like literally, I would just like chat about like maybe like think about like your literally most favorite day you've experienced recently, and like put yourself in that space, and then I'd ask him to kind of like literally put it like through their eyes or something like that, and like literally for me it's always about the eyes, like
yeah, 100%.
so
Like I
much
say, you have
in
to
that.
like convey an emotion, especially when it comes to like portraits. Because if you feel, I mean, whatever you feel, like you can see it in people's eyes. Like eyes to me always give it away. So if you feel shy or insecure, you're gonna convey that to the camera. And yeah, obviously your body also, like body language is a big thing. I mean, if you're sitting like this and you're all closed off, you don't look very confident. So there's a lot of cues that you can think of. But yeah, just like I said, practice and try and be authentic. Like, I mean, obviously you don't want to like put too much pressure on yourself to like be the best either, because I mean, that never happens. Humans are always about progressing. We never really reach our pinnacle of I'm happy now, you know? So it's good to always push yourself.
I like that. And being, I'm going to say then, flipping to the photo taking side of things, has that been a different experience than having to kind of convey that or communicating to any sort of models that you're working with to actually be comfortable in the same way that you'd be used to doing? Is it kind of now, okay, feeling a little bit more responsible for how everything kind of takes place?
Yeah, so for me, when it comes to working with models, I haven't shot with a lot of models yet. I've mainly worked with people who are from agencies and also have experience already. But yeah, for me, I think, like I said, because I've been in their position, it's easier for me to also give them guidance because I kind of know what they're going through. You know, like I said, I've got that knowledge that they like might be, and you can also like pick up on the cues, like, and like it's also a big thing to actually connect, like you said, like it depends on who you're working with. One of my favorite photographers who I used to work with a lot, Craig Anderson, and what he did with me, which I really liked, is we actually went for a coffee first before we even, and then we started planning our shoot together, just to see if you can also like connect with that person, because I mean sometimes there's just no connection, and then it's actually hard to, you know, flow with each other in that state. But yeah, I think for me, I wouldn't say easy, but I think it comes a little bit more natural to, give guidance where needed.
I get you. Shane, you, in my opinion, one of the sort of portrait gurus of Cape Town, definitely a very accomplished photographer in that realm. Do you sort of, like Molly was saying, do you spend a lot of time with people beforehand, or is it kind of a lot of time meeting people kind of on the day and then having to build up their rapport sort of in the moment, like you said, by bringing up the small talk and just making people feel comfortable and getting into the right space?
Yeah, I mean, our industry is like super fast paced, like moving and stuff. You know, some days like you meet the models on the day, and then you kind of just have to set a platform and literally just be real and authentic as they are, obviously in front of the camera. So there's a lot of vulnerability going around, of course, depending on the shoot as well. So literally finding that common ground, chatting, like, you know, like asking questions more so about like who they are, like where they come from, whatever. And then like literally, like I said, like my like thing is more so just like, for me, I'm quite a vulnerable guy, so like I think that's my superpower, like as a photographer, like especially a portrait photographer, because my work's very moody, like esque, you know, well, my personal stuff rather, but like if it's for someone else, it still kind of has my touch on there, and I think that's like my path to creating that look that I look for, and actually also like bringing that out in the model, like kind of like creating a space where they are in that space where they've experienced like, you know, like a certain emotion, and I try to bring that out of them by asking certain questions, like I mentioned earlier, like having them say like literally like favorite day literally of the last week or month, or like what was your literally like most beautiful day you've had this year, and then they would think about it, and then like I'm just talking, and then while I'm talking, while they're like going into that space, I shoot them, and it's like it's super authentic what comes out and stuff, and then through that they get very, very comfortable, and then it's like, cool, here we go. And I'm like complimenting, obviously, being like a photographer, so like you slowly build confidence in them, and then you guys just end up flowing together, which is amazing. And now you're just making art, you're not even thinking anymore, you're just feeling with this person. And that's what it comes down to, I feel, for me personally, a lot of the time. Literally, even if you meet the person like right there and then, you already have something in common, right? You're here for the same purpose, and like you get to that point where it's like, okay, cool, let's make art.
I like that. You also, I think, one of the sort of premier festival photographers, and I think there's not a festival you haven't been to and been snapping photos at. I think that's where I first saw you. One of the first times was one We Love Summers way back when. I don't even know what
You're
year it
both
was.
little small boys then.
Exactly, yeah. But like you're definitely covering a lot of the festivals very, very regularly. Is it different in those environments where I'm going to say you can't really necessarily build a connection unless you know the people? It's more a case of observing from a distance there. How do you kind of get the best in those sort of environments and capture those realms?
Very interesting question. Yeah. So obviously festivals are very different ball game again, like strangers, like I think it's just that it comes down to who you are as an artist, and like the energy you give off. That also plays a really big role, like in these instances. So now obviously festivals, people are very happy. They're in like a flow state again, like the music's like taking them places. So a lot of people are kind of like almost like fading away in the gold skies, like, you know, having that kind of like real, like authentic experience with the music, you know, with their friends, with people they love. And sometimes they're just setting the platform for me to capture that. Sometimes it's just that easy. Like I'm coming in, I'm shooting people living their best lives. And then like if I were to like move more to like my style, which is now a little bit more woody stuff, that I'll actually coordinate a little bit more with people, you know, certain people in the crowd. I'll pick them out and be like, oh wow, your outfit looks incredible. Again, like complimenting, you know, creating some common ground, like, you know, what do you think of the music? Did you use your favorite DJ? Like just silly questions, and then make him feel super comfortable, and then can I get a fit check shot or whatever? Like depending on the festival, if it's commercial or like, you know, if it's like a, let's say like alternative trance festival. I'm not really a big trance festival guy. I don't really shoot them often. I'm more in the commercial space, I suppose. Like Ultra, Corona, Sunset, Habitat, to name a few. Rumors by the Lake.
Favorite festival, if I dare ask?
They're gonna cut my knees off. Right?
These are also your clients, bro.
Yeah, Habitat's definitely my favorite festival, hands down. Back then, I'd say it was between Rumors and Habitat, but like I think I've just found my people at Habitat. You know, like that, like really like inner circle kind of people that you really have so much love for. And they always help me get like really cool shots. So they're like always game to like literally run around with me and I coordinate people and I shoot them like in the whole time as well. Yeah, it's been a really fun journey in doing that. This last, I think it's been like 10 years now.
10 years?
Yes, I'm old. Jeez.
What? I just saw the math happen behind your
way.
eyes. Like, and you just, no.
I'm not telling you guys my age though. Sorry, guys.
I'll work
That's
it out.
okay.
It's fine.
Oh,
We all know he's the youngest one here.
He exposed like this. I look like I'm 12. Like I can't get enough flack.
But we all know you're not. so
Just
it's
grow the
okay.
mustache, bro. It's fine.
just the stash, bro. Just this little brown
Just the
mustache.
stash.
Dude.
Yeah, I can't grow like a full beard. I can only do the mustache. So
yeah, but you do the stash
you and
like,
me both do.
perfectly.
Yeah.
You rock
Like you-
like especially with the black hat and the blazer. It's like
I was going to ask for tips. Is there any like stash oil or anything we should go to?
Just be cool, bro.
Oh, just be cool. Okay, damn it. It's not going to happen.
I don't know, dude. It's just genetics. I don't do much. I just shave it once a week, and that's it. Just there.
sponsored by Manscaped.
Yeah.
I've always
not
been
not sponsored person.
I've always been so inept at being able to grow any sort of proper facial hair. And then I've been hanging on to this as like my little identity. I read some Facebook post like years back saying something about like, guys who only develop facial hair later on, they'll only go bald later on as well. So I've been like, okay, cool. I can't grow a beard, but it means I'm not going to go bald. And I'm
As long as the hairline's solid, we're happy.
I'm just
Like, we're
hoping
happy.
that holds.
So are you saying he's going to be bald now? Is that what you're saying?
I have way too much hair, bro. I have like a ton of hair. It's not gonna happen anytime soon.
You could take the hat off and it could just be
Dude.
clean. Okay, well, never
Yeah,
mind.
that's
there we go.
that's terrible right now. Hat hair, but you know.
No, Shane's blessed forever. Like back to the festival sort of train. One of the things that I really like about festivals is maybe just because I can only handle people for a certain amount of time, is with the festivals being a sort of creator, whether it's the videographer space or photographer space, you kind of can just roam everywhere. You can jump on the stage, you can run behind the scenes everywhere, and just mix and match all the time. So you don't have to just be like there vibing the
A
whole
lot
time.
of freedom.
You can also just go chill out and hide in a little quiet spot, which is for me the best thing about it, is that I don't have to be like in action all the time, and I really, really enjoy that.
Up on that
aspect
zoom
of it.
lens, it's just bird watch.
No, it's super great. Have you covered a lot of festivals at all? Or
I haven't, I don't think I've done any festivals myself. Like I've done events, but nothing like big on the festival side. Would be something fun to get into. I've always thought like I could bring like a separate approach. I mean, I did shoot event stuff where Miles was one of the dancers for it, and then I just came with her. She was like, "Can you come with me?" I was like, "Yeah." So I just walked in with my camera. Security like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm with her," and she's like, "Oh, I'm a dancer." And they were like, "Okay." So we just walked in, cameras and everything. And then when I went around the back, like she was setting up to do like her set because she was like 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off, or something like that. If I remember, it was anyway. So then I brought my camera to at least shoot because if I'm going to go to some event like a party thing, I might as well do something while I'm there, not just sit on the couch.
Most events, if you can get in with your camera and like claim that authority, you can kind of just go wherever once you're in there. If you just hold up the camera, people kind of just it's like the Red Sea kind of parts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's also great.
Oh, it's so good, bro. And then like I picked it up, started shooting, and then everyone thought I was part of the media team. Like I met Joshua Cree there, like he was also shooting. And then he's like, "Oh, since when were you hired for this gig?" I'm like, "I wasn't." He's like, "But you're backstage with a camera." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm just here with her." How did you? And then anyway, what happened was, it turns out one of the organizers of the event was actually a pre-primary school friend of mine. He just came out of the back room and he's like, "Josh, what?" I was like, bro, what's up?" And then he was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm shooting." He was like, "Oh, can we just have some of the photos?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course you can." He's like, "Okay, cool. Well, then have fun." And that was it. They gave me like a band. I just wandered around and that was how I got in.
Oh, fantastic.
It was just a random story. But no, I do want to get shooting into more of like the event stuff. Like I thought it's a very fun environment, but I'm like you, bro. If there's too much people, too much sound, like that whole event I had my AirPods in with noise cancelling. I was like, I need to create my own bubble. I'm like, I can't.
It tends to get overstimulating
My
after a
ear
while.
was literally singing for 5 days afterwards because I had to dance right next to like those massive like speakers.
And
Like
those
literally,
speakers are crazy
Like
loud.
it
You
was
need to
bad.
have,
Like
like-
it was hectic.
you
Like I
need-
actually
you
thought I
have
was
to wear
gonna go deaf in
protection.
my one ear. I was a little bit terrified, but I didn't.
I've lost so much of my hearing from festivals, I'm not
Oh,
gonna lie.
goodness, no.
I mean,
Do you
I
go-
come from a
Kill
music
me.
background, right?
Yeah.
Like I used to be a drummer. Well, I am a drummer, and it's like I've lost so much of my hearing. And then going into the music scene then was just my hearing has gotten so bad. It's
Do you
terrible.
wear protection now?
I do now, yeah,
What works well? To still be able to kind of interact with people, but like also like
So I
protecting
have
your
these
health.
airplane ones. Use them on the airplane. So when someone chats to you, you can actually hear them much better compared to the ones that you stick in and then you're just deaf. Like
Okay.
So it literally brings down the decibels like more than half even. So it's like just super bassy, and then these crazy people speak to you and you can hear them, and I'm like, oh cool, I don't have to do that thing, like when you pop your ear down, you can actually hear. You don't have to do that. It's really, really cool. I actually get them at Clicks. They're like, I think like $150, and you can have them for like a couple of months.
What do they look like?
They're little blue airplane, like flying like little
Okay.
earpods. I definitely recommend that. Click sponsor me.
Shameless plug.
Also plugging Clicks because I
Yeah.
can find it there. I've got a quite a swimming background, and obviously being in the water a lot of the time, we used to get serious ear infections quite regularly. So after a while, after so many, you kind of have to get some proper earplugs, and there's these hardcore silicone ones, but they like never have them in stock. But when they are in stock, I buy like 8 or 9 at a time. Just wipe the shells. But those aren't really allowing anyone to hear you. So I've worn them at a couple of festivals, and it's just like not silence, but like just lowers it, and I just smile and wave, boys. Anytime anyone asks me a question, yes,
Yes.
100%.
Give the thumbs up to make sure they're happy. Then when they smile back, you're like, okay, we good.
Yeah,
Now I can operate.
no, for sure. Josh, you strike me as quite other than not having covered a lot of festivals and stuff, like really a creative who covers a lot in both the photo and video sense and the variety of types of shoots that you sort of do. Has that just been a sort of journey of learning, or do you think there's a need to kind of eventually start specializing in some sort of sense, or have I got it completely wrong? And are you ninja specialized in one area?
No, so basically, like, it's such a weird story or weird journey, but where I want to go is mainly like adventure travel. Like adventure travel work is like my favorite work. Like that's my bread and butter. Like when I've done stuff for the Cape Town Tourism Board as well, or when I did the project for a German travel company, like that stuff for me is just like peak. I just love that, especially being out adventuring, like in the mountains, up at sunrise, out till sunset. Like I love being out and about, like in a setting that is like an adventurous setting shooting. Like that to me is prime. And that's what I want to do. With regards to like how kind of all these things have kind of happened, I don't really know. Like I think it's come from the fact of like I'll say yes to most things, because I've always said like once you understand the fundamentals of the craft, you can just apply them anywhere. So like once you understand the fundamentals of lighting, of composition, of how you can convey certain emotions, like whether it be through portraits or whether you are trying to showcase how epic a landscape is by having someone really small in frame, or a specific way they're holding their pack, or anything like that. Like I found that I did my first proper fitness shoot with Stark actually. Like he hired me for a fitness shoot. He's like, "Oh, bro, love your stills work. I feel like you could do some cool stuff in fitness." And I was like, okay, cool. Based on the knowledge I have, based on what I've seen, let's just go out there and throw my own taste on it. I also find that like as much as I create, like I consume a lot. Like I don't often like before I met Miles, I wouldn't watch like any like movies or series or anything. Like I'm just on YouTube watching either like Samuel Elkins, Evan Ramft, James Popsey's, like all the photographers that specialize in composition and are just about lighting. Like obviously these aren't like the biggest names, but they create a lot of content on YouTube. So I'm consuming so much. I'm just watching like, okay, well, for example, Samuel Elkins was talking about his R5 that he has and he was reviewing it. And while he was doing that, he was showing a bunch of stuff he did for Lululemon and stuff he did for Garmin that was showing on screen just while he's talking. And I'm like, why did he frame it like this? Like, why is the frame skew, but the Garmin center? And like, just trying to understand how he did that. And I'm doing this process while I'm watching. So I'm like, I would love to go try and shoot something like that. So if a client approaches me and they've approached me for a shoot I haven't done before, whether it be portraits or automotive or whatever, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Like, it could be fun to give it my own take. And yeah, for example, like I'm shooting tomorrow for a fighting brand. I've never shot fighting content. Like I've shot fitness once, and now I'm shooting fighing tomorrow. So
is this like real fighting, or like it has to look like fighting?
It's kind of have to look like fighting. Like
okay, so it's Roadhouse, not MMA.
No, it's like it's kind of staged. They're doing it because they want to showcase their products, like their gloves and their shorts and like that type of stuff. And there's gonna be people doing jets and sparring, and you're just gonna be there shooting. So it's kind of just my own like take on it. I find that like I love to diversify. I love shooting all realms. Just as long as there's a camera, like I'm happy. I'm having a good time. Like I like to challenge myself. I like to see like where are areas where I can grow and evolve, or how can I push the envelope on what I'm creating all the time. And it's like I've never found a job where I'm like, ugh, don't want to do that. Like sometimes I'm like, will this elevate me in the direction I'm going? Whether it be, let's say, an 8-month gig or something that's really long. I'm like, okay, does this push me in the direction I'm going? And I'm like, okay, no. So I'm rather going to turn that down. But it's like a once-off day thing that I'm like, okay, let me try. Let me see what I can provide here. Because there's always opportunities to like learn and expand. And I find that every job has taught me something. Like I've walked away and gone, okay, I now know a little bit more either about my craft or about my gear or about client relations or about human relations or about something that I can learn.
Awesome. You've also used quite a few different camera brands from what I understand. Like you've used quite a few different like bits of gear from what I can gather. Is that correct?
So I started with a Nikon D3100.
Okay.
And then I jumped to the A7 III Sony. I've got the A7 IV now, Sony. Love that brand. I'm enjoying working with them.
Yes, the cult.
We're expanding.
Don't agree. I'm joking.
And then when
Shane, are you Canon shooter?
Yeah.
I'm also
all the way through color science for the win.
You see,
Come on, guys.
Yes.
so we just start talking about autofocus, video, slog.
like
Yesterday.
the only thing I own that's not Canon is obviously my Nikon film camera.
Shame
That's
on
a
myself.
Film camera, so it's okay.
Yesterday I had Stark Louis on with all the other guys, and he was the first non-Sony shooter that we'd had on. And all of a sudden the floodgates are just opening. What have I done?
We're coming for you guys.
So
Yeah. No, and then I obviously wanted an everyday carry camera and a film camera. And then obviously we all know about the X100V that appeared out of nowhere and took the world by storm.
I've had a bunch of people asking me like where to find these things. Like,
Bro, all I did was I walked into Orms. I was like, can I have one? They were like, we haven't got, we can put you on a list. I said, cool. Left, week later, phone call. Yeah, one's here. I'm like, okay. That I bought it. And I tell everyone this story and they're like, how is this possible? Like,
why is film making such a comeback? And it seems like it is.
History always repeats itself, I think, in like literally almost all aspects of life.
just emulate film.
yeah, that's what
That's literally what I do. Like I shoot on my Canon, and yeah, like a lot of the time you can't even tell it's with the Canon. I just emulate. Like that's like my style. I like love film looks, but not necessarily.
What helps you kind of get close to that film sort of look? Because I can't really like pinpoint what it is, but you know when it looks like it and you know when it doesn't.
It's all in the editing, really. You can overexpose or underexpose. Doesn't really matter like what you're seeing. My style is I like to expose properly for the scene and then just from there play around. I think it's definitely all in post-production. I would like obviously add grain, there's some secrets I won't reveal about how to get that look. But like, yeah, very, very like, yeah, literally fascinated with that. But a very European style kind of like, yeah, soft kind of like hazy washed out like film look instead of like, like too much grain. For that matter, yeah. I love that style so much.
just a healthy amount. Just like,
Yeah, when you
sprinkle it
mentioned
on there,
now, like, the stills work and all of that, and you said Nikon, I was like, no. And then you jumped from that past Canon straight to Sony. I was like, why would you shoot stills on Sony? But like, I mean, each to their own. I have to roast you, bro. Sorry.
I actually, like, funny enough, I started with a Canon PowerShot when I was like 12.
Okay, yep. I also had one.
No, but also every time I upload my photos into Lightroom, he always compliments Canon's colors. Always.
They do,
time.
right? And then they go back with like, and it's like, oh, this looks weird. Like with Sony, like it never looks the same.
I feel like Sony, you can always get it there eventually, but it takes a lot more work.
Like, you got to do something with it. Like, yeah.
I mean, that
work
didn't
for
sound
it.
like a selling point. I mean, you get there eventually.
But the sharpness, like, the
No,
one,
that I will give you.
Yeah.
It's the Japanese precision.
It's just there, sharp as knives. Bro.
The sharpness and the autofocus I'll give to you guys.
Yeah.
You guys can have
Yeah.
that. That's fine.
Like, one thing when I was speaking to a beauty photographer, Chef on sale, I was like, yeah, so, Sony have released these new cameras like this A9 and this A1, and I was talking about like how great like the megapixel count is, and he just shoots on a 5D. He's like, I will never shoot Sony because whenever I shoot beauty, I can see through the model's pores what she had for breakfast. And I'm just like, bro.
It's so interesting.
Because he says it's way too sharp. I don't like it. I like Canon. I like softness. And
I don't know if it's actually coming out yet, but on one of the rumors pages I was looking at, I think Sony has registered a medium format camera, which is going to be something like 240 megapixels or something ridiculous. Which is also now, I think they've only got the what do you call it? What's the shutter count when you, frame rate that it shoots at? Why am I blanking here?
Wait.
How many photos it can take in a second?
Okay.
Am I just losing?
Frames per second?
Yeah,
Or like
that.
continuous shooting or high burst
continuous
mode,
shooting. Yeah,
like,
I think they can get it up to like 6 or something, which is pretty impressive for that data rate. But obviously, it's like nothing compared to what the cameras
that's
can do now.
insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't imagine what kind of pause you're going to see there. That's going to
240 megapixels.
imagine a macro lens with that.
the
like,
macro lens on the eyeball where you see the whole universe.
Dude, I'm literally on 45 megapixels now, and it kind of feels too much. But like when I do obviously the high end stuff, that's fine. But like, yeah, you can get away with like 24 megapixels quite easily. Like that's
How do you find 45 megapixels in terms of just like storage? Does it feel like oof every time you take a photo, or is
it's a
it kind of
little
at that healthy medium?
It is a healthy medium. Yeah, definitely. Like when I'm not like shooting a festival. Like when I shoot a festival, it's like it's definitely overkill. It's like I don't need 45 megapixels. So I'll just use the 5D4 for that. And
It is nice just to be able to reframe without really having to lose too much.
exactly. But I do prefer the R5. Like right now, like for like the high end stuff that I shoot. That's like the best one for me right now. The flagship boy.
All right. Going back to film, because I do not understand it and I want to understand it.
Okay. Yes.
How does a film camera actually work? Like real basics?
I mean, we have one here if you want a
Like-
little demo.
But you can't pop it open because then you will expose the roll, and we can't
right.
have that.
So
Yeah.
like I'm really a film novice. Like I've taken a photo with one once and been like, I don't know how this thing works. Where's the EV, the electronic viewfinder? I don't know how this works.
How do I look at what I just took? Like, how do I check exposure?
But that's also the exciting part about it, though, is having to like finish the roll before you like know what you got. Like it's actually like so. He got me onto film recently. I mean, I've always obviously enjoyed my photography and stuff like that. And he always you mentioned like it's so hard to find a film camera that's in good working condition that's also like affordable. And then literally like a few days after that, this photographer I follow posted that he was selling a bunch of his old film cameras because he's moving overseas. He's Wesley on Instagram.
Oh, cool.
So
Really good
Has he moved
photography.
overseas?
he is leaving. He is officially leaving country.
When is he leaving?
I think he might have left already, or he's leaving like very soon. That's why he's like selling his stuff, like he's
Wow.
immigrating.
Okay.
So I think he's going back to Bali or like those lands. Somewhere.
We've got a Sony group as well, like a little WhatsApp group that sells a bunch of gear and stuff, and he's been posting quite a bit on there as well. So
Yeah, that's why he's getting rid of all his
Yeah.
stuff. But
remember
so
he
I
moved
got
to Sony, yeah.
I decided to cop this one because I mean it's in good working condition. All I added was the strap, and then I had to go get a lens cap.
And which film camera is that?
It's a Nikon FM2.
Okay. Basic summary, how does a film camera work? For me and all the other dummies who might
Okay,
be
so
watching
like,
who
do
don't
you
know.
want to know like the hectic intensity of like loading the film and all of those things, or just in terms of like how do I take a photo?
Not so much loading, but like I can take a photo pretty well on my camera because I know how that all works,
Yeah.
but I do not know how all the knobs and stuff actually work there. Is it just the basic sort of, the normal triangle with exposure and all of that?
So
Do you want me to run it through or do you want to take it?
No, you do it. You love your technicalities. He's very good
Okay.
with his technicalities and reading up on the terms and the fidgeties and all those little things. So I'll have him go for it.
Okay. So basically, the best way someone explained it to me when I bought my film camera was they said you're basically advancing a new sensor every time. So as much as it's like on like Sony's now, there's a mirrorless camera, or Canon or anyone else. Like, I'm not just adding Sony, okay? Like everyone messed up on the wall here. But basically, it's like you have a camera sensor that is digitally processing your image every time, and where basically what film is all film is it's plastic with chemicals. It's literally just a plastic tape with chemicals in it that reacts to light. And when you take a photo, so if you advance the film and you're ready and you meter the lights and everything, which I'll explain metering and all of that, and you take a photo, what's happening is the shutter's opening, exposing that section of your roll, because it's a long piece of tape, to light, boom, it reacts, and then you've got to advance it to the next advance, and I got a new like piece of the tape. But in other words, it's actually, I think tape is the wrong word.
Call it exposures.
Yes, like we call them like exposures. That like you say photos, but it's also like exposures. So there's a frame counter like on every film camera, and every roll of film has 36 exposures or 36 photographs.
Why is that? Is that just arbitrary, or? I
don't know where the 36 came from. There is probably an exact reason, and someone can tell you, but that person is not me. We could all sit quickly and be like,
me.
Hey Siri, like why are there 36 exposures? But basically, like you get a new sensor every time you advance. That's kind of the way to look at it. And your film determines your look of your image, obviously, like and your ISO. So we call it like the speed of the film. So each film is a different speed. So obviously we know on like modern day cameras, we can just like, oh, it's too dark, let's just up the ISO, especially on Sony. You know, we just send it. We don't even care. But on film, you're locked to a specific speed ISO per the film stock that you get. So for example, there's Kodak Gold in here now. So she's still testing this camera. So we put Kodak Gold in here. It's like a cheap, affordable film stock.
Yeah, we're hoping it comes back nice.
Exciting.
So we put Kodak Gold in here, which is relatively affordable film stock. I think it's 225 Rand a roll. So 225 Rand, 36 photos. You do the math of how much Rand it is per photo, but it's like a parking guard every time you've got to pay or take a photo.
I don't like paying for parking.
So, but trust me, bro, you're going to want to take photos on film. So basically, this film stock is limited to 200 ISO. So then...
Does that 200 ISO sort of match the ISO that the mirrorless sort of cameras have, or is it a kind of a different rating sort of system?
As far as I know, film has, I think it's up to 5 or 7 stops of you can underexpose. I overexpose up to 7, and I think underexpose towards 5 stops. I believe, that's not an exact number that I know, but I know that film's dynamic range
roughly
is
around there,
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Like when I've taken photos on my film cameras, well, I've only got one, it's over there, and I shoot, I'm like, how has it got the highlights and the shadows, like both fine? Like there's no such serious contrast, but that is also determined by the film stock you're using. Like some film stocks have more high contrast than other ones. So with Kodak Gold, for example, it's on a 200 speed. So this camera is put at 200 ISO, and then you meter the light with your f-stop and your shutter speed are the only two things you can really control the light with. With regards to how it carries over to digital, when literally the first roll that I was putting through my Pentax film camera, I had my X100V from Fuji with me, and I matched it to the settings, looked through the Fuji, was like, okay, cool, that looks about perfectly exposed, then took the film camera and took the photo before I understood metering. And it was about the same.
Okay.
It was about the same, but obviously the Fuji, it's like digital, it's a bit smaller sensor. Film is like premium, so the dynamic range was much higher. Obviously you get grain, the colors are different, everything was different, but it was just mainly to see if I could expose it correctly. So yeah, and the rule with film is obviously there's no IBIS. So you cannot drop below 1/60th of a second, because your photo will be blurry unless you hold it stern onto something, or use 3 points of contact with 2 hands and your eye, or you got to keep it stable. And
you can put it on a tripod though.
You can also put it on a tripod.
That's quite nice.
The craziest thing that I learned about film is something called reciprocity factor, or something along, I don't know if it's reciprocity or something how you say the word, but basically, if you run a long exposure, you can only run the long exposure for a certain amount of seconds before the film actually gets too exposed to light and doesn't expire, but that section you're overexposing, it just kind of whacks out. And each piece of film has a different reciprocity factor, and you do a small calculation to see what's the longest long exposure I can push for this film stock, whether it be 25 seconds, 20 seconds, 15 seconds. Some film stocks can go higher, some can only go lower because of their reciprocity factor.
Wow.
So it's quite but that's obviously deep. I haven't done long exposures on film myself, but I just know that there's such a thing as reciprocity factor. So yeah, film is a lot of fun. Love it to pieces. It's obviously not mine, this is hers, so I'll give this back. But basically, shooting film is a lot of fun, but it can get expensive. I'm I shot Portra 400, a roll of Portra 400, and a roll of Portra 800, and like those are like the real pinnacle of film stocks. But yeah, it gets expensive. Like it's 400, I think 15 Rand for one roll of Portra 400. That's one roll, 36 photos, and you're done. That's like 400 Rand.
Crazy.
Sure. But yeah, film is crazy, dude. It's so beautiful. Like it really allows you to see the world differently, especially when you look through your viewfinder. There's no like histogram, settings, this is your battery, this is like how many photos you can take, this is your exposure, like everything's there. It's just like, it's just clean, poof, that's it.
Oh.
I mean, if you want to have a look through the viewfinder, you're more than welcome to.
I don't know.
Really cool, actually.
Yeah. Let's have a...
Make sure you show him how to
squiz.
turn it on without him taking the photo by accident. Okay.
So to turn it on, okay, viewfinder's obviously there.
Sorry for all our audio-only listeners.
Oh yeah, they don't know what's going on. I've got two mics here.
And then
hold
if you want to turn it on, so this is what advances the format. You don't advance it all the way, so just like let it out, and then you press the shutter button,
Wow.
and then it will be on. You can see now like there will be a little minus on the right-hand side of the viewfinder, and that means like you're completely underexposed.
Okay.
So that would be your light meter. So film cameras come with a light meter built into their viewfinder, and some of them film cameras require batteries, but they only need batteries for their light meter.
Interesting.
And my film camera, its light meter works differently to hers. So my light meter on my film camera means you set the aperture, and then it flashes a shutter speed at you that it thinks you need to use to expose your image.
Yeah.
So
I must say, I think I'm quite lucky being in the mirrorless generation. It's
No.
definitely a lot of shortcuts that I
it's so
can do
beautiful,
there.
man. Like it's helped me
Yeah.
like understand exposure better, composition. Like
Yeah, it
it's
also
just
makes you
beautiful.
like actually like be more intentional with what you're shooting.
Fair.
Because you only have like, I mean, like, cool, you can stand there and take 10 photos of the same thing on your film camera if you want, but obviously also that's not financially viable.
No.
But also makes you, makes you more intentional with setting up your composition, waiting for the right moment, and then getting what you want. And I mean, I've had to pose for him quite a lot throughout this whole thing as well. Then sometimes you're like there for like 3-5 minutes while he's trying, he's like, I'm trying to get my focus.
Because it's full manual focus, but it's not like where on mirrorless cameras you'll rack focus, and sometimes it'll punch in, or sometimes you get focus highlights where it's like what's in focus is in red, or it's none of that. There's basically a circle in the middle of your viewfinder and the circle is split with a line. And basically, if your image is out of focus, if I hovered that over, like let's say you drew a straight line on a wall, and I hovered that thing over it and it was out of focus, the line would split. And your role is to rack focus until your lines line up.
You have to line it up.
So sometimes if you're like from here and I'm on 24 mil, like your eye is tiny and I want to get your eye, I'm like sitting here trying to make sure I get it right the whole time. And that's after I've metered the light.
You're just making me realize how exceptionally lazy I am with my camera, because I just kind of like aim it and it kind of
Yeah,
The
works.
camera does do bulk of the work. I mean,
Yeah.
like a lot of it, and you can set it up to do most of the work. I mean, like for the people who start off shooting automatic, I mean, it's like the camera's doing all the heavy lift.
Autofocus does so much work. Autofocus does so much work. It was a mate of mine who's been shooting film for so long. Like he got me into film, he showed me how to load film, he explained everything to me about film. And he was telling me, once you start shooting film, you realize how much work your cameras are doing, especially when you put things on like aperture priority and it just sends its ISO and shutter speed.
Yeah, I
based
mean,
on its
even like
exposure.
having to advance it, like after you like take the photo, you must like not like advance the thing instead of just like, there's no option to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yo, maybe it's just because I'm more on the video side of things than the photo side of things, but I definitely like all the technological advancements. They've definitely made my life a lot easier. I quite enjoy it. Oh, Shane, you said you're on the R5, right?
Yeah.
Did you always start with Canon, or how did your kind of creative... Where did a camera kind of find you?
Yeah. Funny enough, I did start on Nikon as well.
We start on potatoes and we just...
Ooh, sorry to expose.
I don't even remember, 4000 D or something. I don't even know what it was. Ran around like when I was a little kid, like shooting on that. And you can imagine how long ago that was.
You make yourself sound like really old.
Yeah.
Like, I started you at high 20s, then you made me think 30s, and now we're in 40s.
I just celebrated my
adding
50th.
years on.
I actually just celebrated my 50th birthday, so.
Oh, okay. Can we come to the 60th?
Eh?
If we're still around.
Yeah, of course.
okay,
You guys are more than welcome to join.
Will the ends just go grey?
whenever
Your
you
hair? Will
want.
the ends just go grey? Will the stars
I have
go
to
as
have to
well?
dye it a lot, dude. Like it's crazy.
You're already dyeing it now. Like I can see it's kind of home down.
I
There's a
am, but
grey
it's,
patch over there.
it's dark, dude. Yeah,
Okay.
very, very dark. Where were we?
You were running around with your camera.
Anything to get away talking about Nikon.
Oh yeah. And then like I had like a Canon like 750. And then that was my camera. I got like a little trusty, like nifty 50, and then I just started playing around with that. Loved low light when I started off, and then like literally 1 year, like my friend was like, I was gonna go shoot this party can I come along? And I was like, okay, cool. And I just followed him around shooting, watching what he was doing. So initially started out shooting clubs, which is like level 9,000, like difficulty. It's just so hard. I didn't know how flash worked. I basically would just put this flash on and just run around shooting like people being drunk in the club.
You're kind of forced to learn very, very quickly in those environments because it's fast paced, everything changes, and like
that's where I learned the most. I think, especially with flash photography, like now, like you're like learning like how light works, like how to bounce light, especially. That was a big one for me. So I learned all of that in clubs, and literally obviously shooting like festivals and stuff like that. And then literally worked my way through the ranks. Had like literally the one after that was a 5D Mark II, and then 3, and then 4, and then now I'm on the R5. So worked all the way through the ranks and stuff, like with all the different bodies I used. Super privileged to like still be able to do it now, like after so long. I mean, in Cape Town, you almost hit the ceiling like at some point, and for me, I think I've been super privileged like that. I'm still able to like get work out and like travel and like still do like really cool campaigns and stuff.
You do some amazing campaigns more on the corporate side as well, beyond just the portraits and the festivals and stuff. Like I've seen quite a bit of work you've done, particularly with like some of the alcohol brands, which are just like awesome campaigns. Like how much of your time kind of is split between those different sort of realms?
Yeah, so like if I'm not doing like fashion stuff, so like recently did a campaign with this brand called Ansi magazine. It's just like Dutch magazine, so I did some print work for them as well. And then like I was running this campaign with Black Label. So that's the billboard work. We shot, that was like a couple of months ago, and then we did like this campaign for Castle Lager. So it's quite a lot of things. One of it actually won gold, I must say. Like I think it's one of my biggest accomplishments as a photographer. So we won gold at the Cannes International Festival of Creativity like 3-4 months ago. So I was obviously still a photographer on that campaign, and there was a whole bunch of like obviously like videos and stuff that like got like the gold, like the Arrow Award and the Silver Award and stuff, and then that whole campaign won gold. So like we were like super stoked with how it came out. At the end of it, so literally so many campaigns. Like I started one now like with a health brand called they're gonna kill me. Like what? Like it's SMUL, but it's pronounced not smell, smule. No, I don't even know. I think it's a small. Yeah, it's pronounced small.
We'll just cut it so you just got it right. First time.
Forgive me. It's called Small. And they like this like whole like it's like health fitness brand, so they actually like provide food to Woolies now. So they're quite a cool brand to work with as well. Other than that, I do a lot of like personal stuff, like you mentioned in Paradise earlier. You wanted to hear about that, so like managing all of that, and then starting up this like brand like with my friends called Hidden Paradise has been
What is Hidden Paradise exactly? It's just there's just like you guys are partying everywhere. Tell me a little bit about kind of how that got started and where it's going.
Hidden Paradise like started like, so one of my friends Lou, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, Sky Lounge. He's a DJ in Cape Town, and everyone knows him by his dreads that he like shakes around like when he's DJing and stuff. So he's actually one of my best mates, and like we've known each other since like high school days. And he literally had this idea like probably like 2 years ago that he wanted to shoot like his sets in exotic locations. So we would literally climb a mountain and shoot a set, and then it would just be him and I, or like me and like 2 other friends, and I would like film his set literally while he's playing on a mountain. Just like we'd get like a drone pilot in and he'd fly the drone, and then we just get like beautiful scenery with him playing and stuff. And then like his birthday came up like 2 years ago, and he was like, can literally let's host like a boiler room style like thing, like where I'm playing and people are like behind me and just in a beautiful location. We were like, okay, that sounds like a cool idea. That day, I think like 150 people walked up, and we were like, what is happening? Like,
oops.
We just were filming stuff. So friends of friends, invited friends of friends. And we were like, okay, we'll definitely have something here. Then we decided, let's host another one, see what happens. And then we did it in the Dutno at the beach. I think, 250 people rocked up. So we were like, okay, like this is definitely something. So from there on, we officiated it. We were like, okay, cool, we're gonna have like an actual like party now. Our first like proper official big party, we had Chris Luno come in. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. Chris Luno is literally the #1 ranked DJ on YouTube. so he also like records set in exotic locations. So he's kind of like Lou's hero. Like that's kind of where he got the idea from. And from there, it just took like a whole life of its own. I think we had like 450, 500 people come to that party. So it was like on a rock in the ocean. Like you kind of have to have like a small hike to get there. And so we hosted these parties there, and that day was, the craziest thing we've ever experienced. Like, people came in hordes, and we were, like, not ready for it at all.
I don't want to be the voice of bureaucracy, but, like, what do you actually have to put in place to manage that many people? Because, like, that's chaos.
We were never ready. I think, like, we didn't really put much in place. We just had the location, and we just had to kind of like manage people, I suppose, like manage parking. We got some bouncers in. We obviously had like ticket sales, etc. First, our parties were free, so like that was the first paid one we ever had, because we realized that it was hitting our pockets a little bit too much. So then, literally from there on out, we kind of just like, okay, cool, let's. So now we're kind of playing catch up, because we have this audience that are like waiting for us to do stuff, and we're like, okay, we have to officiate this, like, register.
And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
We had Rai X. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Rai X. We had him contact us like 2 months ago, and we hosted like a little, like really intimate gathering with him, because he's like an indie artist, and it was like a super emotional, like really intimate like occasion we had. At this like place called Wonderland in Hout Bay. Really, really cool space as well. They have this like koi pond, and then like if you're down in the cellar, like the fish kind of swim through the cellar walls. So the koi pond's like built around the cellar. It's incredible. Really, really fun. But like I said, like we're really just playing catch up right now. Like we have a lot of things in the pipeline that I obviously can't discuss yet. But and it's called Hidden Paradise. So a lot of it we try to keep hidden.
That's such a cool thing to have like grown and now just be kind of, like you said, it's almost running away, but it's such an incredible concept to kind of have gotten started.
Exactly. It's been such a natural progression for me, coming from events and like never really hosting events, shooting events, and then like to now hosting like my own events, and then actually also now like just like DJing. I've like never wanted to be a DJ ever, and I'm starting to really enjoy that. So it's another like avenue of like you probably will see, like if you get into the event scene, or like you're going to start DJing with your homies. It's, if you're any sort of content creator, I don't know if you've experienced this, but like you tend to go the other side of the creative world as well, like music, of course. So I started DJing. That's been really fun, and actually found like a new love like for hosting parties, which is again setting a platform for people to live their best lives.
That's incredible. I imagine it's kind of similar to what you guys are almost doing with Creators Photo Walk, where you're now starting to collaborate with a bunch of different venues and just getting into the hosting sort of mindset rather than just, okay, cool, let's rock up and have a good time.
Our most recent one, which was the 1 year anniversary, we hosted it at Halo, like the nightclub Halo in Loop Street.
The lights looked incredible.
No, it was insane, because it was the same people who owned Safe House, which we collaborated with last year, but we actually didn't know that until we like approached the people again. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of organizing going around there, because obviously they have their own brand that they are now literally collaborating with us. And they obviously have their own, like house rules and things around. I mean, it's a whole nightclub that you're letting people in, like, before hours and stuff like that. So definitely a lot more organizing, especially, like, for our winter periods, because we can't just say, like, hey, let's go to Maiden's Cove. Or, I mean, we did that last year, and we planned this whole meetup for Tafelberg Road. And it just rained us out. Like, we got there, like, the weather was not predicted for that at all.
Classic Cape Town.
And I mean, we still got out for 20 minutes. We got those, I don't know if you saw on Josh's page, like it was me on like this green
motorbike, this
ninja, yes. And I mean, we were like there for 20 minutes, and then everyone kind of just like pieced the scene. So we realized like we're gonna have to collaborate and contact venues or even studios to see if we can keep it going in winter months, because a lot of the time we had to like cancel or postpone. And then I mean, I don't know how much you want to disclose,
I mean,
but we have also been like in contact with Fitch and Leeds and stuff like that. So they're kind of jumping on board now to sponsor our events here, and they just kind of be a part of the community, because they've also been watching the Creators Photo Walk for quite a while.
Amazing.
So I'm really excited for where it's going to go, because we've also had really great feedback from the community around what we've built, and especially like in Cape Town, because like unfortunately the content scene can also be quite cliquey sometimes, you know. So it's also just like people feel welcome there to explore and grow and make new connections. And we have a community group even on WhatsApp where people sometimes post like jobs and stuff that they like don't have the time to do, or they're selling gear. So it really is an amazing community where people just connect, and you've got like a lot of support all the time. So I'm
That's
really
awesome.
excited for it.
The venues in particular, what do you think they are looking for in terms of collaborations with, and this is open for to everyone,
Yeah.
like what do you think in their mindsets they're actually getting value from this, and what are they receptive to versus kind of like,
Well, just like personally with the people we've been dealing with for Safe House and Halo, they just really love what we do with the community. And we also always offer them content in exchange from our community and obviously from us as well. So we'll always go beforehand and like shoot the location and kind of like hype content that we'll make. So a lot of the time they're also happy to have like a trade for content, and sometimes they're also just happy to just kind of have us there because of what we're doing. But I mean, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, if you want to...
Yeah, for us, like, so it's been slightly different. Like, we've been like, so the audience that we have, like within like a span of like, I think 3-4 months, we've grown like quite a big audience. So like our following on Instagram, not like it's a thing.
16,000 people.
Yeah, we like I said, like still playing catch up because we have no idea how the hell it happened. We're like after the events are like, did you see all those people, dude? Like we're like, what? So I am still sitting here with you guys talking about it, and I'm still not fathoming what is happening. So I'm very much in the midst of that. But what I found like with the collaboration with venues and stuff, they're chasing that audience because obviously if we collaborate with them, they tap into our audiences and they get to like, you know, get into that people's and stuff. If you have a community, very much what you guys have, they tap into that, the sponsors especially. Like I'm not going to mention like our ones, but like the thing is like, like they really like, so the collaborative effort together, like is for them to have more, obviously, like drinks in the people's hands, getting the numbers behind that, and you know, like exposing their brand to more people, and like literally for us as well, it's just literally tapping into those numbers, and just being associated with something that's directly related to tourism in Cape Town. I think we've had quite a big injection in terms of like tourism for that. Our audiences are like literally like 60% are European, funny enough. So we're actually trying to push more into the local scene. For some reason, we just like attracted a lot of Europeans to our parties. It's weird how they find it, but like they find it. They find the
secret
coolest
network
things to do in Cape Town. Like, I have so many friends that are influencers, and they like literally have like they work with tourism board in Cape Town, and they just like get paid to show off beautiful places. And the way they also like capture, because they're content creators, they just capture it so well. And it's like Cape Town just shows itself off pretty well. It's just finding that niche, exactly how you guys are, which is brilliant, by the way. Finding that niche to like, you know, showcase Cape Town in a different light, through community, through harmonious people, exotic locations, secret raves, that little logo, just like that rock, letting that know, for example, that it's been there forever. No one's like people go sit there, have big, and we decided one day there's like this like amphitheater on there, and we were like, let's host a party on here, because we went there just to sit there. And then
Can I ask you something? Do you need like permits or anything for
Yeah.
that? Okay,
you need to know some people in the game to make
because
that
I mean,
work.
I could imagine I could just get shut down real easy if you
There's
do that
many
just out of
comments.
the
Like,
blue.
I mean, of course, you get a lot of people that are like naysayers, who's like,
of
with
course.
but literally having that much attention, especially like with the videos going viral and stuff, like you get a lot of like haters and stuff.
No, for
It's
sure.
been crazy. It's been really good, but like there's some instances where like you get like a lot of hate, and you're like, I don't understand, like where this is incredible. Like
You can't have the good without the bad, unfortunately.
I just think our ethos is like leaving the place how we found it. So like literally, if we like host upon an exotic location, we would make sure we literally left it exactly as we found it. It's even better afterwards, I swear. Like we would clean up afterwards, clean up the whole place properly.
I think that's such an
It's like we were never
amazing
there.
attitude
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
about it, because a lot of it is just like consumerism, boom, and then you leave and like everything's kind of
So
trash.
we make sure when everyone come in, you know, they bring bin bags. That's like the thing. If you come with your alcohol, whatever you're gonna bring, you bring a bin bag with you. So at the end, we make an announcement like, guys, please, like, can you take your trash with you? So very, very big on that as
I think that's also part of the culture that you're fostering around how the event is, like how it's viewed, like coming in. I think similar to the Creators Photo Walk, like it's about your mindset sort of coming into something and what you're kind of looking to get there, not just, okay, cool, this is another ticket event that I'm going to just to warm as a pre before I go out to town kind of thing. So
no, exactly.
This is the
like,
main event.
If you're hosting stuff like that, it's very much an extension of who you are as a person, right? Like this is your
100%,
passion. This is kind of like how you view your life. So like when you're setting these platforms for other people, it's like you're kind of like laying yourself down, like, hey, look, like this is me that I'm giving to you, kind of. So like if you're like curating those spaces, like or communities and stuff like that, like you're fostering a culture, like you mentioned, like very much like to a degree where like you change people's lives for sure. Like, as people like are made to belong somewhere, and like a lot of people are just trying to find that. And you mentioned clickiness. Like I meet so many people, and like the thing they say quite often is like Cape Townians are very clicky, and like a lot of people right now probably like, yeah, that's true. It's true. It's like
The clicky capital.
I don't really know. I'm so nice though, but like it's like But it's funny enough. I find this, like Joe Burgers say this quite often. Funny. I love Joe Burgers though. Don't get me wrong. But like they're the only people that would say this. But like I do see their point though sometimes. So like us fostering this kind of environment is really good for that kind of people to join and kind of like live the life of an actual Cape Townian. And that's what the tourists chase, like living. Besides the geographical difference, of course, it's like living a life of a Cape Townian.
I don't know if either Creators Photo Walk or Hidden Paradise could work in like a Joburg kind of environment. Like I don't know how important it would be different. Like I'm sure it could work, but I think Cape Town gives another sort of element to everything that just like it allows that everything to kind of mesh nicely and that synchronicity to sort of happen. And this is coming from a Joburger.
We've had interest from
We
Joburg.
have all these things.
We've had interest from somewhere in Joburg. Creators Photo Walk has had an interest from a party that side. Awesome. Which we were kind of just like, well, we're a Cape Town-based community, so we don't really know.
Also what
like,
they kind of do isn't really like it's also like a very nice community that they run that side, but it's not really in the like photo, video, or modeling like space.
Okay.
So and they wanted us to kind of like take Creators Photo Walk that side, but we're obviously focusing on the connections and everything we're busy making over here. But yeah, I mean, who knows what can happen in the future? I mean, don't want to like just like shun any idea, because you never know what can happen. So, but I think for now we're pretty much very much Cape Town focused.
Yeah, I find it's like very important to like stick true to your brand. Like if you have like an ethos or like how you'd like to look to the rest of the world, it's like very important to stick to that, because like you'll find you get a lot of like requests from other brands that's like, is this who we want to be? Like we've had that question quite a bit come up, and we'd be like, I don't think we wanna like be associated with this brand, because like this is how we wanna look. So we're very like niche in the way like how we operate, and like so very, very good point.
Yeah, like, but it's good because that also like I feel like a lot of people sometimes they will like just say yes to it because of like the clout or the this or the that, and that's that's not what it should be about. It looks cool,
but like is this actually?
But then the intention isn't really like it's not pure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back to the camera-related theme. No, I love that.
Time to decide, we're bringing it back.
Hey, you said open. You said it's open.
It is completely open floor. It's completely open floor. But I got my list of questions, and we must go through them in the order.
I work with Germans, trust. I've seen this.
I've got my Austrian passport, so I can claim it.
Good man.
One thing I'm always fascinated about is everyone's like it's not like becoming a doctor where you have to study medicine and then you become a doctor. Everyone's journey in the creative space is always so different and so drastically varying in terms of how everyone sort of comes to being in a similar sort of space. And education is always a topic that I'm very curious about, and how people pick up the knowledge that they've developed and where they've either studied and if they view that as worthwhile, not worthwhile, if they do anything differently in trying to learn and stuff. And I've always said that I learned everything from YouTube University. And yesterday when I was chatting to Stark Louis, he said, no, also YouTube University, but he calls it YTU, which I quite like. So I'm
stealing that.
Yeah, so I literally said to him, I'm going to start saying I studied at YTU. I quite like it.
You get red jerseys with white text, YTU.
Which I really like the term. So on the topic of education, I'll kind of go kind of one by one. I'll start with you, Shane. Where did you kind of find most of your learning sort of came from? Where did you start, and what do you find has been the most important part of your learning process in the creative industry?
I mean, like for any photographer starting out, YT was a really big one, like tutorials. I never had any formal education in photography. I actually studied international relations. So like I was like doing imports, exports. Like I was in my internship and I was like sitting there watching like...
That's a proper left turn.
Yeah, photo tutorials on how to shoot models, how to pose models, like looking at like how to color grade and like editing and stuff like that. And I was like, just something inside me was just boiling for this. And I was like, this is definitely something I have to do for the rest of my life. So like, yeah, from there on, I just did a lot of free work, a lot of collabing with people, like being completely horrendous at at it, you know, like running around shooting and stuff, and watching a lot of like other guys, like you said on YouTube, like watching a lot of like guys how they do it, and like especially like kind of like taking from so many different photographers and kind of like making that your own. So yeah, taking little pieces of like your favorite like photographers and videographers, and then yeah, kind of like honing that into your own craft and like putting your own touch on it at the end of the day, you know, like because creativity, like it's so broad, it's a really broad spectrum, and like spectrum, okay, perspective, yeah, and then like, from there on out, I think I just really honed into my craft by like constantly learning through other guys, like actually going to like free seminars and just shooting people and yeah, watching how other people do it, like people that I've looked up to actually in the industry, and then yeah, like kind of from there just really, you said there's a saying that says like if you've done anything for 1,000 hours, you're an expert at it. So like I think I've done like over a couple of 1,000 hours. So like I don't really know if I'm an expert or not. I don't know like when you actually hit expert level, but like
I think you reach expert level when you start saying, I don't think I'm an expert. Like
nah,
it's that point of when you know enough to know that you know very little in the big pool.
There's so many nuances to it, you know, but like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, like constantly learning. Like I still learn a lot. Like I learned today a little bit more about foam camera, like photography. I've never really been like interested. I just always emulated, and like I never found to like really like be I can emulate that look, it's fine. Like I go back and like kind of like create it on like in post, like where they use like Lightroom and Photoshop together, giving away some of the stuff. But yeah, like yeah, and I literally just learned on the job a lot of the time, just like being forced to learn. Like so many times I'd be in really deep water, like you know how people say fake it till you make it. I would be in that situation quite a bit. I have no idea what I'm doing. My first studio shoot, I didn't know how anything worked. I didn't even know how to tether my camera. I didn't know, like, and I'm being super open about it because like it's just how I am. And like I did the studio shoot and it came out incredible. Luckily I had like a lighting assistant who was like basically fixing the lights for me, and I just controlled everything on my camera. And yeah, like kind of like fumbling your way through the forest and then literally lifting your head up and like looking at the beauty all around you. And is this really like where I've been this whole time? So like it's like falling your way through, falling forward, failing forward, and then eventually get to a space where you're like, whoa, like I've this is how much I've built. I still can't believe I'm here like in this space. So like no formal training, just experience. I think to answer your question without the backstory, I've learned through experience. Like I've learned through failing countless times. And it really like fixes, or like people telling you your work is shit. What is this? I hate this. Like get out of here. Like, and you go home and you're like, what? That's so painful. But like it makes you stronger. You come back harder, and then and the same people come back to you a couple of years later. Hey, can I work with you? And you're like, no, sir. I'm okay. Thank you.
Failing forward. I like that term. I like that term a lot. Molly, on to you.
So I also have like no formal education in photography or videography or anything of that kind. Didn't go to university. I studied personal training. So I'm a qualified PT. So I also kind of like completely took a different route, but it's still something I'm very passionate about. I'm going to be very honest. I only started owned my first camera in 2022, which is 2 years ago. And that's kind of been a very nice journey since then. So because before that, like we've always had cameras like in the house because my mom loves like wildlife photography and stuff like that. Like she likes going to like the game parks and things. So there's always been like cameras around the house. And then in 2022, she decided to gift me her old camera body. And I realized, like, obviously before that, I just did everything on my cell phone. And then I had this camera, and I actually had no idea what I was doing, because obviously, like, you know, I didn't want to shoot it on auto. And I don't want to do that. I want to be able to shoot on manual. So then, I also just played around, and I just kind of like found my way. And obviously, because my mom does photography and my brother also, like, I had people to ask for advice just in terms of like, what does this mean? Like, what is ISO? Like, what is all these things? Because it made no sense to me. Because like I said, previously I just had my phone, you put a little timer on and you snap away, you know? And then for me, it was always just self-portraits at first, which was quite challenging because the camera body I had was quite old. So it was one of those processes and I was stuck with just a nifty 50. So getting your full body in the frame was kind of hard, you know? So it was one of those setups where you would like set up the camera, press the button and get 10 seconds to run and get into your pose and all of those things. But and then obviously when I started going to the Creators Photo Walk, I learned a lot from the people there. And then, this one over here has been teaching me a lot over the past year that I've been working with him and shooting for him and even just modeling for him. Because as you can hear, he like dives into the technicalities of like cameras and exactly like, you know, the craft of it, like very deeply. And it's nice to have someone who can obviously guide you through that process as well because, I think most of my learning has also come from, probably other people. Do I want to go study in that field? I don't think so necessarily. I don't think it's needed. I'm continuously growing and always learning because the industry is always like moving forward as well. You know, it's never really like standing still. There's always new technology and stuff like that. So also no formal education, just experience.
Fantastic. Josh.
What was the question? I got the question, but I'm like trying to think about make sure I answer everything about like the journey or about where I am now, where I'm going.
Just your approach to creative learning and how that's what's been effective for you and what maybe hasn't.
Okay, so the story up to this point was quite interesting. So I've always been a creative person in the realm of like either I'm drawing or because I used to, we're gonna go into it. I used to draw comics like big time, but like stickman comics.
Please
like,
send to me.
You want like I wanted to NFT them at one point. I was like, this stuff's classic. So I used to draw like 1-pager stickman comics. Like the boxes were like probably like 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. I used to draw those in class all the time. I used to draw like avid drawings in class. So I've always been a creative individual. Power shot, like I said, the little Canon power shot that I got shooting on the Nikon, like always been involved in that world. So I went to study environment. I want to study architecture. UCT were like, your portfolio is trash, bonk. And then that was that. So then I went to a different college, like a design focused college to do environmental design, which is like you become an environmental advisor for architecturists? No, what's the word? Architect. An architect. You become an environmental advisor for the architects based on their designs and you help like proofread them and stuff. But in that you do a first year, which becomes a general design year in your first year. So you learn all the programs like Photoshop, Illustrator, and you learn kind of the 2D programs. Like you don't learn like Premiere or After Effects, but you learn like the still kind of 2D programs and stuff. And we did photography and as one of our subjects. And Peter de Jager was one of our photographers. He's like a natural light fashion and beauty photographer. And I remember the first like class, he made sure all of us had our Tom Ang photography guide textbook. And he's like, guys, firstly, I think Tom Ang is an idiot. And we're just like, there's this textbook by this oak. And he's like, I don't like Tom Ang, guys. Like, and he just throws up his own presentations, took us on our own tangent. Like,
you're like, damn it, I bought the textbook.
And I'm like, he's like, look, Tom Ang makes some good points and the assignments are cool, but no, just focus on this. Mm-hmm. And the way he would explain it was really like he had a passion for it. He could see the talent in everyone. Like he could see your skills where they were great and where you fell short. And he would literally improve you as an individual when you would hand in your work. Because our final deliverables for photography was always prints. Like you had to give him an A4 print. So he would sit with you and kind of say like, oh, I like this and I like this color and I like what you did here, but look, also pay attention to this. And he like really incited something in me that I was like, wow, this could actually be amazing. After that, I pivoted towards audiovisual design. So I was like, actually, I don't want to be an environment designer. Let me do audiovisual design because then I get to do animation and VFX and all those cool stuff. Mm-hmm. Learn Premiere Pro, After Effects, all those programs. So that's where the videography background came as I learned editing. And then I remember entered my 3rd and final year. I was 3 months in and I was like, actually, I don't want to study anymore. I hate animation. I hate all of this. I'm leaving.
Okay.
And I was 6 months away from the degree, which I think is funnier than having the degree itself. So I'm basically
So close.
I was 6 months out, so I'm technically a dropout. So I just left. And yeah, I remember all my lecturers were like, "We were amazing to have you. We think this is a dumb decision, but whatever, go do your thing." And yeah, then I just went all in on the craft, and I was just like, "Okay, cool." Like, I just had this unwavering dream and faith that you can get where you want to go to. So I was like, the same thing as like what Shane was saying, like you fail forward or you throw yourself in situations where you get in hot water and you've got to swim. Like you've just got to keep moving. And I spent, like you said, a lot of time on YouTube tutorials, making notes. Like I literally did YTU to like the nth degree. Like
YTU is a thing now.
YTU is a thing. Like I had a watch later saved playlist where I was just like, it was called YouTube video notes. And like I would save informative videos into there, and then some days I'll just start going through them and start making notes and like trying to learn. And a friend of mine actually bought the Calder Creative course when it came out and just was like, here, and like let me have a look at it. And I was able to like learn from Calder without having to pay for the course.
Sam Calder is yeah.
Yeah, so that's been absolute legend. Like I bumped into him I think once or twice. Like it's been pretty cool.
So cool that he's like around Cape Town.
Yeah, he just hangs out. Like I bumped into him in Bryn North on Kloof Corner once. They were shooting the OnePlus ad, their old one, but before they did the Fold, and they were shooting that. And I was like, "What's up?" They're like, "Yo, what's good, bro?" Like chat. Sorry, we just trying to like film
What kind of
something
setups did they have while they were shooting something like that? Was it a little bit like elaborate, or did it just kind of look like a couple of guys with a camera just running around?
Well, the reason I ID'd Sam Calder when I was going up Kloof Corner is there was this massive black camera bag, like this huge camera bag on this oak back, and I'm like, who's up here with a massive camera bag? And then he like turned around to like have a look at something, and I was like, I know that hair. That's Sam Calder. I was like, that's crazy. So I went up to him, like greeted him, and like just normal dudes, like just completely him and Bren work. Obviously back then I was kind of like, oh, this is so crazy. Like after seeing all these like travel films, I was like, what is he doing here?
Yeah.
And then basically when they set up the video and they were filming, it was literally just that Sam was on camera, like he was the talent, you could say. And he had this like wonky box contraption that he put the two phones in. It was like literally a piece of like wood with like two clamps to put the phones in. And I watched the OnePlus BTS video afterwards when the video was released, and he showed like it was this box he created to like show the cameras of the OnePlus phones. And I saw him with that, and then Bryn was just there with his gimbal and his like Sony. That was all. Like they just looked like normal dudes. There was not like massive Ronins or anything crazy. Or I think they flew the drone. I don't know if they did, but just normal drone, no FPV. I don't remember. And I was just I was like, they just blend right in. But like complete, like obviously now they blend in because Cape Town is full of creators and there's drones at like every sunset spot and like everyone's going.
Yeah, I mean you look at their content and you're like, it looks massively high scale, but it's just them blending in.
Yeah, literally.
I'm not gonna lie, that answer kind of makes me really sad.
Why? What were you expecting?
I was
like
hoping they were gonna have
cranes
like crazy setups, because now I'm like, wait, they did this looking normal. Like, okay, clearly there's a talent differential.
Natural light, yo.
Yeah.
like there was no light, no bounce, nothing. Just Bryn in his gimbal. And he's like, "Okay, Sam, and go." And I'm like, no countdown, no action, no, just like, "Okay, Sam, and okay, we're gonna walk. Okay, cool. Should I just walk there? Yeah, I'm just gonna like walk here. It should be cool. Okay, fine." Whoa, out of the rock, and then they filmed it. I was just like sitting there, like one take, like just taking it super easy. So that was quite a moment. But yeah, for me, it's like with creative learning, it's just been like, I love to understand things to like the nth degree. So I've read a lot of like books on psychology and like that type of stuff. So I'd like to always try to learn. So I'm always trying to like learn about the gear, and I watch a lot of like gear reviews, like Gerald Undone, Peak. Like, I'm always there.
And he's very specific as well, which is amazing. Like he really goes like to the nth degree of nerdiness.
And I love it. I love it. He's just like going so like the way he does. Like we'll show you about the vignetting on certain lenses and the color and like how he has that like board where it, like it almost looks like it's got like that. It's white and it's got colors around it, and he's showing you how it vignettes and how the sharpness is and all those things, which is just so whack. And I'm just like, I love this because like I want to learn like so much detail about stuff before I buy it, and it's with all realms of my tech. Like I'm very much a tech nerd and a car nerd, so like I just try to learn as much as I can with everything. So with creative learning, it's just like the biggest thing I've learned that has helped me elevate is play. Just have fun, like just make something. Like the beauty of being with Miles is like her and I will come up with an idea to go shoot something. We're like, let's go shoot this, or we'll be out and about on sunset. She's like, should I bring this? Should I bring this? I'm like, bring both. It's just see what happens. Like let's just throw it to the wind and see what happens. Like.
That's amazing that you guys can also support each other in the creative journey
I think
as
we're
well.
very blessed to both have like a passion for the same kind of thing, you know, because massive support. Obviously, like if there's something he wants to shoot, obviously I'm gonna go model for him. Or if there's something I want to do, you know, like we go on a lot of adventures together and stuff. And obviously, like, you know, you have to find like your middle ground, you know, because you don't want it to be competition. You want it to be like flowing together.
And sometimes there's got to be a bit of downtime.
I mean, of course. I mean, that's natural. Like I said, you can't have the good without the bad. But I think we're very blessed with what a beautiful thing we can also build.
You guys going to become that travel influencer
Oh, yeah.
couple.
100%.
We've literally got a notion
100%. We have so many plans.
That hair and everything.
We're really excited. Like, we're really, really excited. We've got some plans to travel to Italy next year. And we've got some stuff coming up closer to the end of winter, in South Africa, but we're not going to disclose.
I'll be looking
out
for that content for sure. Hold you to it.
Yeah, we're so keen. Like, we had a Notion template at one point. Like, okay, we're gonna make photo books, and then we're also gonna make like this, and then we're creating this brand already.
Yeah, we already have like some clients that we're also building together. That's obviously not necessarily like travel adventure yet, but it's also nice to have clients together, because sometimes obviously he's got way more experience than video, so sometimes we'll also approach clients with like a package where, like, you know, he'll mainly do the video and I'll do the stills, or, you know, we try and find like a workaround. I'm also trying to play around with video more as well, because I mean, it's all in the like creative realm, and like it's always nice to learn. But I think it's really cool.
No, that's very cool. On the client sort of note, I think people always kind of refer to it as like season or not. It seems like it's a very seasonal type of thing, and when you're doing certain types of projects, obviously based on weather and all of those different types of things. Do you guys find that the winter months are a little bit quieter versus summer months, or what's your kind of experience been of when you're the most busy versus not?
So are you talking about like what we do specifically together, or just like in general terms?
General.
Well, for me personally, I would definitely say that in winter it like slows down quite a little bit, but it is obviously nice when you can find like retainer clients who has like a monthly thing, especially when it comes to like, you know, like product photography and stuff. Like, that's something that's always needed. But obviously like different like types, like different aspects of the industry, like either like picks up or slows down. I think obviously for like, you know, like the travel adventure stuff, like he said he did that for the German travel company where he shot last year. I was one of the talent for that, so I wasn't shooting, but I was part of that whole process. I mean, we so many times had to postpone or this or that because it was raining or it was too windy, and they always wanted us like up on the mountain, kayaking in the ocean. So obviously it does affect like depending on the type of work that you're doing. I definitely like think like winter definitely affects like how busy you can be.
Especially like these Germans, because it's summer there, but it's winter here, and they're like, hey, we want beautiful, like, bikini shots on the beach. I'm like, guys, it's 12 degrees. It's 12, like, I don't, like, hey, when you got Timberland and we want beautiful sunny skies. I'm like, guys, it's moody. This is what you're getting. Like, I cannot, like, explain it to them. And then they were like, why are the hikers wearing puffer jackets and, like, long pants and stuff when they're hiking in a tropical place? I'm like, guys, it's June. It's like 8 degrees. Like, I don't know how else to explain it, but international clients.
It was one of like this really cool, like we eventually just had to do it because obviously like he had like, you know, deliverables and like cut-off times and things. So but I mean, you can't expect us to go out in the middle of winter and wear like little crop tops and shorts going up.
I relate so much. Like right now, like, so I can't go to Europe. So actually normally during winter I go to Europe, right? Like our winter, their summer. I can't go because like they're shooting all their summer stuff, which is going to be summer there soon, here in our winter, just because it's cheaper. And I'm like, okay, I do understand that, like, you know, like our winters are quite continental. We have like warmer days like today, like in between, you know, like where you can shoot.
Those are so unpredictable.
Except the wind though, obviously, like same thing with our parties. It's like, you know, everything's like weather dependent. So I definitely hear you guys. Winter, it depends. Like, so like studio stuff, all of that, like super chill. Like
that carries on.
Yeah, I think I've been doing it for so long that like it's like there are like the quiet days which I'm very, very stoked for. Like my girlfriend and I went away like 2-3 weeks ago. We went away like just for a week. I put my phone down. I wasn't on Lightroom or anything, like not on Notion, not on Discord, not on anything social media related. And I was just laying on the couch watching Dragon Ball Z, like it was so soothing because I haven't had a break since I don't even know. Like I think I was pretty burnt out. So like when I do have the off days, like oh my goodness, it's like the best. Like
You
today,
need those.
I had a bit of time today, so I was like, cool, let's definitely do it, because we've been planning to do this for a bit, and we always miss each other. Yeah, definitely slows down though. But just like, yeah.
Is it difficult to sometimes say no to projects? Because especially being like a freelancer sort of mindset, like you almost, like if you're not earning, like it's you feel like you're missing out on something. But like you need to also have days when you kind of switch off and stuff as well. How do you find what's effective for you to like sometimes be like, okay, cool, no?
I would go like full on for like a couple of weeks and then take like a week or two off. I think it's like rest is as important as, you know, work. I mean, if you're not going to be good, you won't be able to make that money or, you know, get all the clients and do all the work. Essentially, I think, finding a balance between the two. But obviously, like being a freelancer, like you have to think, you don't have the security of like a monthly income, a salary. So you have to think months in like ahead. So yeah, it's just like, in the summer months, really pushing, you know, like not even get any off days, like shooting back to back every day. And then like winter time comes, you get to go to Europe and kind of have like a nice summer, because you save most of the cash in summer. But for me, it's like at that point where I'm like, during winter, I'm still quite busy. So also like, giving work to friends, like I've set up kind of an agency setup now, like where like I would like, the work that comes in, like if I'm not personally going to do them, I would give them to like Ollie for one, like, or he'd come with me to shoot it, or give it to another photographer to do it. So like it'd be great to have you guys on board and to just like be like, hey guys, here's some stuff for you guys to, because a lot of the time I don't have capacity. Like we actually spoke about this a while ago. So I would love it to slow down a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie. I'm in that phase of like trying to like slow down a little bit more. So I'm moving away from the festival scene. Sorry, Cape Town. Like they're gonna hate me for this, but like it's been,
because the festivals book you like months in advance.
It's been
as
happening,
well.
and like I would be like, I'm done, and it's like
just
okay,
one more.
Yeah, can you like just. Yeah, literally there's one more, and I'm like, okay, like just this one more, and then it's like 3 years later, and I'm still doing it, but like I'm phasing away. So like, if you guys are keen, please let me know. I like, literally, so the thing is like I have established relationships like with these clients, so like they needing someone to kind of create the same style, same look, and literally, I'm very much keen to guide, right? But like they wouldn't want anyone, so like that's my struggle right now, giving over to someone else. The clients are just like, no, I'm not giving my baby to anyone else. You're going to do it. And then I'm demanded to be there. And that's why I can't really rest that much. It's because, I can give it to other people. But then the thing is, obviously, the results will be different. And, like, I'm finding myself more in, like, I don't know, not director position, like an art creative director kind of position, where I'm, like, responsible for the visuals, for the visuals. But, like, I don't actually shoot it. I need to make sure that it looks a certain way.
Yeah, but there's a balance there to make sure that you don't end up almost doing more work by managing the whole process versus just.
I started doing a lot less, like, which I'm really keen on. Like I'm slowly like moving out of the festival scene for one. I'm moving more into the commercial space now, which is like a lot less work for more money, which is really cool. So I'm trying to work smarter instead of harder, because I feel like I've worked really hard for a long time, and I'm at that space like now. Like, also my girlfriend's like really good at like reminding me, okay, you need a rest, like get off the laptop at like at least 7 o'clock at night, you know, like try and like, you know, make space for like rest and recuperation and stuff.
What do you think's a good path towards growing in the like commercial sort of industry? Is it about the relationships you have with production companies or producers specifically, or what's kind of the best route forward to either get into that industry or to, once you're in the industry, to continue growing?
Yeah, I think like at least for me that really helped is just be a nice guy. Like network,
Can't teach that.
Network helps a lot. Like just like be a really good like business person to work with, like, you know, like be above approach always. Let's treat everyone the same, because people will say a lot of things, and you know, like I got like my biggest gigs just from someone recommending me, and I find out it's like some crazy campaign that's paying massive amounts of money, and you're like, what? Like this person just gave it to me, and they didn't even take it for themselves. It's like just, or like, you get recommended, but literally by people, just through the people, you know, by being a good person or like being a nice person.
We recently had a meeting with someone, and she calls it like people collecting, basically, because it's like it's literally just connecting with people and networking, and obviously building a certain level of trust. And that's something she touched on quite big, is like, you know, because people trust you with what they like. That's why they're willing to recommend your name to brands, because it's also their name at the end of the day
Exactly,
when they
and
put your name forward.
You're bringing this thing to life.
Yeah,
and,
people collecting.
Yeah, that's like basically it. Like it's like forming those connections and stuff. I just find like who I am in the industry is like also really helped me quite a bit in getting like work and stuff, like whether it's commercial or business or like conferences or anything like that. It's all just literally, especially through like agencies and stuff. I worked quite a bit with Little Big Productions. They like I'm their unofficial stills photographer. Like I'm not part of their team, but like they call me part of their team. Funny enough, because whenever still stuff comes up, like I'm the guy they tend to come to for that. Really cool.
I'm obviously slowly developing as a creative as well, and starting to work on some of the bigger projects with much bigger teams and all of that. And what I'm realizing that like everyone at that level can do a job pretty well. Like obviously there's differences in creativity and stuff, but like by and large the professional product is the professional sort of product with a few minor discrepancies unless you're like mega talented. And so much of that I think is about the experience that you provide sort of underneath that. Are you like a person to be with on set, and that's almost more important for all the people organizing all the personnel.
You spend hours with these people, so like it's very important for you to like just be nice, to like have great energy and stuff. Otherwise, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun for the client. Most of the time they're around, so you just have to be perform and like be nice about it.
So everyone's there to do a professional job. So I mean, it's your kind of colleagues that you're working around, and if one person is making everyone's life a little bit more difficult, it's not impacting just one person or just the creative output, it's impacting the 30 people running around as well, and everyone's getting a little bit twitchy if one person is late or just difficult to deal with, I think.
100%.
Also like human relations. Sorry, if you want to continue. It's just like human relations. Like when you're on set, when you're on a location and you're working with so many people, and you are like the photographer and you are personally responsible for final output as well. Like even though there's makeup artists, there's models, there's wardrobe, there's all of that, you've got to like click a button that is going to then deliver all of that. So there obviously is that pressure that delivers that as well. And it's human relations. You've got to get along with people, and you've got to provide a healthy work environment so people go, oh, remember like that person. I guess their product was great, but also their service was great. Even their talk was great. Even the way they handled and carried themselves amongst our team was great. Like we want them back because not only did they provide an excellent product, they provided a great experience. So that's also something that can work in favor with recommendations and stuff, as you said.
For sure. I'm going to say the lonely part of the whole creative process for me is the kind of post-production side of things, because then there are generally not too many teams members involved there, and that's normally like you put yourself in your cave and you make the magic sort of happen. Obviously, I've got my video process sort of down, but in the photo side, I like Lightroom and occasionally Photoshop, and like my workflows aren't necessarily sort of perfect. So, Shane, I'll sort of start with you. I'm going to say post-production workflow. How does that sort of look from you from when the shoot actually ends and the camera goes down, the SD card comes out? What kind of happens from there, and what kind of tricks have you learned?
Literally, like working smarter. So if I'm doing like a client shoot, like. So let's say I'm doing like a model shoot, right? Like I would start in camera, like if I really like a shot, then like in post I would like literally just go filter, like obviously import everything, and I'd go filter, and then all my starred images are there. So I've already done the filtering instead of going through 1,000 photos and going like I like this, like like star whatever. No, like I would do all of that in camera already. Literally most cameras have like a rating system, so I would rate it from like 1 to 5. So normally it is just only 1.5, and then I do that, and then like my post work is just much easier. Obviously I have presets I work with. So
are you then worried that you might have like missed stuff, or is it a case of okay, cool, you look through all your starred stuff, and then only if you need more good things, then you go look through the rest?
Yeah, so generally when I shoot in camera, like I said, it starts in camera for me. I would take like 3 shots of one thing, just so I have like, two's better than none. So like I would have like 3 shots of one thing, and then like I use the best one. Some of them are like identical, but there's like a slight difference. And then like I would use that one. A lot of the time, I would mark like 2 at a time, just so I have the 2. But most of the time, I'd just like literally click off and see. Okay, cool. There's a couple more. Cool. Let's mark those, and then go back to filter, and then go like to flagged or starred or whatever I'm using at that point, and then kind of like just, so I have like a whole bunch of different presets for different settings, like that I name them funny stuff, like just to make sense to me, and I know which one to go to for a certain setting. So I don't really have to go edit from scratch unless it's a new client, then I'm creating like a new, but I also do have a set feel in my work, but like with literally subtle like differences and stuff. So at the end of the day, the presets, literally starting in camera to like the end, or just, it's quite fast. I did a campaign for Spotify recently, and their turnaround time was like 24 hours, and I shot like half day, but like that was so much content, and like that's the only one I was kind of stressed about, because like it was such a big client, and like turnaround time was crazy. So I think for that, I really was really strict with the starring system, very, very strict. And then post, I managed to get it done in time. Which is really cool. So it really works. Presets.
Are you working mostly through the Adobe suite, or do you do any stuff in Capture One?
No, Capture One, just literally Adobe.
Okay.
Full out Adobe.
Have you ever tried Capture One at all or not?
I have, yeah.
I tried it once or twice, and it confuses me.
Like on like live like shoots and stuff, like a studio shoot, I tend to use Capture One.
Most people seem to use it for tethering. It seems to be a little bit more
much
effective
easier with tethering, especially with Digitex involved. Then like I'm shooting and everything pops up on a monitor, so I'll just look back and it's all tethered through to the laptop, and then I can see the actual image, and then I would just rate from there and kind of move forward. I normally have a little iPad for the client to see as well, just like where they are. So while I'm shooting, it's tethered to that as well, so they can see what I'm doing. And then they also get to star sometimes if they like, which is cool. It just makes everything so much easier, because then in post I know exactly where I'm going, know exactly what I'm doing, and it's not like the long sifting through images. Okay, I'm not using that, I'm gonna use this. Like, I think that's like the really time-consuming part for any creative. I mean, for video it's a little bit different. You guys have to go through hours of footage sometimes. It's for me it's like a little bit easier. Like I just like in camera rate, this is what I want. Client like this, I will go straight and edit that.
Awesome. Mr. Technical.
Oh, me now. Oh, okay.
Both on the video side and the photo side, because I'm hoping I can pick up a few tidbits from you.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so the photo side for me is I don't mark in camera, so I kind of just like flow. So I'll just shoot on the day, like just like I don't really look at marking specific things, but I obviously have like mental notes of what I want to do. But then that depends if I like have a delayed time of editing, or if I'm like editing the next day. Lightroom is really where I kind of come together with what I do. The first thing that I do is catalog organization. So every job gets a new Lightroom catalog. So I know that sometimes people have like a general catalog, and then their catalog gets full and then like starts crashing, because if you just dump everything in the same catalog the whole time, Lightroom does not like you and like will start crashing. So I make a new catalog for every client, and every catalog is dated. So the date of the shoot and the shoot, or who it was for, whatever. And then I just import all the photos in. And my initial process that I do is I'll sit through all the photos once to do one big cull session. And for me, I've seen like the starring feature, and like I've seen all of that stuff, or quick selection, I know the quick collection that people make. I just use I have my own method that works, which is quite whack. So I'll be going through the photos, and then each photo is like grouped like per set or per composition. Like let's say I'm shooting you from the right side, then I shoot from the front, then I'll shoot from the left, or let's say I've got 5 from the right, or 10 from the front, and then 3 from the left, or whatever. I like group those sections, and I'll start going through them. And the second I feel like I've got a shot from that angle that I like, I flag the next photo, and then I'll go through and see if I find another one that I like. If I don't, I group select like 10 or 15 photos and batch delete those out of the catalog. Like I just remove them from Lightroom. Don't delete off disk. I never delete from disk. I keep every single raw. Like I'm like, just in case there's something. So for Lightroom, I have one big cull process that I do like that, where I'll look at certain angles or certain compositions and start batch deleting if I find one from that composition that I really like.
Those catalogs you mentioned, where you split up the catalogs, do you keep them on the sort of local hard drive or SSD that you're editing on, or do you keep it on a separate sort of spot?
Well, I keep it on the SSD that I'm working on my internal, and then when I'm done with the catalog, done with the edit, I dump it onto an external. And my external data wrangling management is like, every folder is dated with the exact date of the month with the shoot, and then all of that is cataloged into raw or final or edits. All my catalogs get get stored in their own like folder in a photo section. So I like make sure all my data, I can just type in like a date, and then bang, I know what I'm looking for.
One of the things I really liked, I don't know if you've seen Instagram, Carl Shakur. He makes some really amazing creative
One of my
stuff.
favorites, dude. Oh, I love that guy.
He's just a creative genius. How do you describe him? Like, just genius.
Weird, wacky, and wonderful.
Yeah, weird, wacky, and wonderful.
Everything, bro.
he put out some tutorial a while back, and one of the things that like jumped out to me in the photo sense is that like on the hard drive or whatever he's editing on, everything lives on there. So if his computer gets stolen or everything goes one day, he'll be able to pull up the Lightroom catalog and everything, and all the settings and everything will be there attached to the raw, so that you never lose that sort of work in progress. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck with whatever your edit was and trying to recreate it.
So that's what I do. Like, don't know why I didn't mention this, but like I don't dump straight onto like my laptop or anything like that. Like my laptop's like clear, so I try keep my laptop like just like clear. So actually I can work fast on there, but everything I work with my SSD. My catalogs are all on there, everything. So if I pop that in, I go on Lightroom and then everything's there. So yeah, like if my laptops even get stolen, I'll still have all my stuff. And then obviously I have a backup for that as well. So when I do dump, I dump on the SSD and then my backup after that. And I work off of the SSD the whole day. Nothing's really on my laptop unless it's like a screensaver or something. It just makes the workflow so much easier.
That's a very important thing. You got a new laptop recently.
Yes.
How was that?
Oh, brilliant.
Which one you get?
So I got the M3 Pro MacBook
Nice.
Pro, but like
Fancy man.
so the M3 Pro like has the base one, and then there's the second tier one, and then there's the Max. So I got like the second tier one. The exact specs is the M3 Pro with the 12-core CPU, 18-core GPU, 18 gigs RAM, and 1 terabyte SSD, 14-inch space black. When I went to the iStore, I was like, wrote it down. I was like, this. I was like, I don't want anything. I want this. Because I was like, I'm so pedantic about what I want when I spend money on my tech, especially if it's like an expensive machine like that. And bro, I'm big in like investing in the tools that you have or the tools that you interact with all the time. So if I'm like getting like an office chair or a desk or keyboard or mouse, I want to really make sure that I'm spending a lot of money on it to a healthy extent, like not like make yourself broke or overspend, but to the point that if you're going to be interacting with this thing to like 8 to 12 hours a day, you want it to be an enjoyable experience.
It's your work tools.
Yeah. So
I found simple things like having shortcuts on like a mouse or something. If you're editing 1,000 odd photos and you've got to do 3 clicks to get somewhere, and if you can change that into 1 click, times that by 1,000 photos, times that by 100 different shoots, that's like hours and hours and hours that you end up saving, which is quite important.
it's also like that with render times and export times. Like those, like my biggest thing is like, yes, these new silicon-powered MacBooks with Apple Silicon are insane with their export and render times. But I want to know about what's the experience like when I'm actually doing the work. Like when I'm in my timeline, do I have to stop and make proxies? Do I have to like wait for something to like I activate, like I tell it to do something and I have to like wait. Like I want that time to be eradicated. So this is why I think the power of these machines has been great. I've been loving the new machines, been great. Handling all work at the moment, especially since I've got like my new A7 IV and I'm pumping like H.8 422 10-bit footage through it. I'm just like, this thing's got to keep up, and it's been keeping up great. I haven't had any issues so far. No like big crashes. It's been great. Like build quality is exceptional. Like I can give you a whole breakdown review, like I did on my Instagram reel of like what this thing is like. But like I don't think I want to put everyone through that right now. Like.
No, I think I was describing to you earlier, since starting sort of the podcast and getting a whole bunch of cameras involved, my computer is hating me.
What is it? Windows? Is it like?
I've got a big Windows desktop PC, but I tried with one of the pretty decently spec'd M1 Pro MacBooks of a mate, just to try and open the files for some of these podcast episodes, and it just like crashed straight away. It just absolutely tanked. So mine is hanging on as best it can, but it's great having the tech constantly advance, but like everything else has to advance with it.
Yeah, all at the same time. Yeah.
And it's such a mission.
Yeah.
Are you finding any issues with your photos or not?
No, man. Like I have the M2 Pro. I'm not as cool as this boy over here, but like.
Hey, I'm not even a Mac boy, so.
No, Windows PCs are dope, bro. There's like towers.
I'm not on MacBook.
I need to go faster. I definitely need to go faster. Like it's still too slow. I don't know. Like it's supposed to be really good. Like like marketed it so well. But I still find there's quite a bit of lag, especially if I have like quite a big workload. And like I said, nothing's on my laptop. Everything's like from the SSD I'm working from, and it just it's still slow.
Which M2 is it?
I don't even know. It's just the normal.
because like basically Premiere Pro has not been optimized for Apple Silicon yet. So if you're on Premiere Pro, you will have a bit of hiccups here and there.
I've been using the opposite excuse, saying that Premiere Pro is now optimized for Apple Silicon, and that's why mine is conking out.
No,
It's just Premiere Pro in general.
Yeah, I think I just have like 16 gig RAM. Like, yeah, this the one before your one.
Is the M2 Pro or the M2 Max?
No, just the Pro, not the Max.
Yeah, so there's so much like variety in like how Apple are doing it, and like it's hard to break it down, but also depends on like the speed of your external SSD, because now what happens is your computer needs to now like talk to the SSD and then it needs to talk back, and that has happened like 1,000 times while you're doing something. So if the speed of like the two SSDs is different,
I think the SSD might be too fast for the.
Faster is better. Like faster is better because it's coming from an external like cable, and that cable also slows down speed. So the ones that are built into like your computer are like they're sorted onto the motherboard. They talk to each other like a dream.
It's mad fast, yeah.
But the externals, there's like a cable in the way, and like that has to obviously bounce like information across. So it could be that's why maybe, but like if you're experiencing slowdowns, like, and you've got the M2, which is still very recent and still very, I would not be happy. Like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I have to like sit with the machine, but sometimes when your internal storage gets full, because basically these Apple Silicon processors, they borrow storage, like not storage, but they borrow like RAM from the SSD. So if the RAM clocks out, it borrows. If your internal SSD is full, sometimes like the processor is like tweaking a little bit because it's trying to like balance out with just the RAM that it has.
You're a good guy to know, eh? I'm gonna definitely hit you up.
Yo, bro, I love it. Like I get mates of mine, they'll literally phone me, be like, bro, I'm thinking of buying a new laptop. I'm like, hey, what's your budget? They're like, this. I'm like, okay, what are you using it for? They're like, all of this. And I'm like, I'll start sending through options. This is kind of what we're looking for. Like I feel like a broker. Like I'm busy selling policies, but I'm actually selling laptops. Like to all my mates. It happens all the time. It's fun though, because you enjoy the process of it. But yeah, people just need good tools to do their work. And I find that sometimes like people will buy things and they don't do the accurate research. Not our generation is pretty good. I mean, we all sit and watch like at least 50 hours of YouTube tutorials before we buy something. Gerald and done. Anyway.
Sure. I call it GAS syndrome, gear acquisition syndrome. I'm definitely trying to limit my exposure to it, but it's definitely a bug that's bitten me properly, and I'm suffering, and I need a medical drip to get rid of it.
It gets worse. Hey, it just keeps going.
I know it doesn't stop.
You feel like the more you get, the worse it gets. Like you're just feeding a beast.
There's always a way to sort of improve.
And it's highly infectious as well. Like you invite your mates around, they'll see what you have, and then they have it. Like it's so quick.
Obviously, the tools that we're using are so important to unlocking sort of the creativity about the photography and videography and modeling and just general creative sort of process. But like it comes down to us bringing everything sort of to life, and I think that's the most important thing. And kind of as maybe a wrap up sort of question to all of you is just what kind of is the burning light that brings your creativity out, and what kind of helps inspire sort of your creative process in creating content and growing sort of as a creative as well. Open panel.
We both were just like,
I love
you guys are in sync. They're definitely in sync.
What was the question?
I made that very long-winded, to be fair. Kind of just what sparks your creativity, do you think? What kind of keeps you going? What makes you excited to create content?
I
should have just paraded it like that. Why did I have to ramble so much?
You were like, I felt like when you were speaking, like the cinematic bars came in, contrast, saturation goes up, music plays, and then now it was just like, no, what inspires you?
Spoken like a true video guy. Oh my goodness. I just would love people to see the world how I see it. So like through my work, I try portray the world the way how I see it, or people like as well, like in bringing out all the things that I think, like my vulnerability in that, like for me, I believe is a superpower in bringing that out in other people. I definitely think that just the general world around me, people as a whole, like very interested in people. I think Sonder birthed from a place of like, being interested in people. Like everyone lives a life as vivid and complex as our own, and we forget that. Like we deal with things and we think we're alone, but like at the same time, there's so many other people dealing with similar things, and obviously our pain, like is relative to our own. So like, but it's still so universal that we all get to understand it. So like, I think through my work, I kind of portray it like that. So my inspiration is just like people and like things. Just like did your everyday run-of-the-mill person walking down the street, like who has a story. I think that inspires me so much, that we're all so similar, but lives lives so differently and like vivid to each other. That's like we miss each other so much, but like we're so like the same in so many different facets. So like I try kind of like bring that out in my work quite a lot, especially on the dance floor, like where it's strangers coming together, but like the way I make it look is like as if, you know, everyone kind of knows each other, and there's this unity that it forms. So that inspires me quite a bit as well.
Beautiful answer. I'm so underqualified for this. Like
I'm like sitting like, fuck, I need to find some quotes.
Synonyms. My answer is like, I just want to make stuff look cool. That was beautiful. That's absolutely amazing and so inspiring. Like I don't know if the ball's being thrown to you guys, so good luck following that.
Why do you need to go first, eh?
Now we have to top that.
No.
So for me personally, my main goal is to always just make people feel something. Like, I'm a very emotional person, and I'm also very nostalgic sometimes, and maybe that's also why I love also, you know, having that memory captured sometimes. So when it comes to obviously like more the passion side of, you know, not like so much the client work and the catalog stuff, and, you know, but like what really fuels my fire is just to make people feel something with the work that I do. Like any form of emotion. I don't want someone to stand there and look at my work and just be like, eh. You know, I just want to make people feel something, whether it's nostalgia or happiness, or like obviously not like I don't want to go down the realms of making people feel angry or something like that. So always like uplifting, or I just want to connect with humans through my art. And because I'm such an emotional person, I just always hope that my work conveys that, and that it can also spark that in other people. Yeah.
Incredible. You guys are
So
very poetic.
Yeah. I do also write poetry, so
That's
that.
I actually wrote down something. So I have a Notion page called Travel, and in that Notion page I wrote down something which I think is from Vincent van Gogh, from a movie or something.
I've heard both of you mention Notion. I'm very impressed.
I also use Notion. It's amazing.
Notion's legit, man.
It's like the best thing to organize your life.
Yeah.
Actually.
I exist on that. I exist as a line of code in Notion.
My life has changed since Notion.
It's so good.
It really has.
Shout out Notion.
Yeah. Sponsor us. Let's get all the sponsors.
Notion t-shirts everywhere.
Yeah.
But I wrote down that because my vision is closer to the reality of the world, I can show people what it's like to be alive. Which I know we're just going to talk about.
Love that.
But basically, someone who's obsessed with adventure travel. Like, I love exploring. I love seeing new places. Like, I love being out in the world, whether I'm like on a mountain and it's pouring with rain and the conditions are like very intense, but that light just breaks through just right. It's like, that to me is just so special. Whether it was going snow chasing with this one in the Matrusburg last year, where we just enveloped in the mountain in the freezing cold snow. It's like, I just love adventure.
I do not feel like I was in South Africa, that's for sure.
No, like it was out of a movie, that experience. And funny enough, GoMag actually like reached out to me. They were like, can we borrow one of these photos? Like, can we have one? Which was pretty crazy. But that, like, to me, it's just about, like I say, showing people what it's like to be alive. I'm just obsessed with this idea of life being this extraordinary experience that we get to have, and I want to show people how to do that. My realm of it is within travel and within insane landscapes and within beautiful places where you just like looking at this like, wow, this is real. This place exists. As much as it is also with the stories, I just want to show people what it's like to be alive, so that we get like this one chance.
3 for 3, making me feel very embarrassed about what I'm doing. Amazing.
Can we throw the ball back to you?
Yeah,
now?
let's hear it.
Your fire.
Let's hear it.
I like making things look cool.
I mean, straightforward to the point.
Oh, no.
Let me just make a note of that.
Make things look sick.
Yes. No, I'm a lot less sort of exciting, but I just love sort of being able to tell stories and being able to craft the way sort of people see things and sort of shaping narratives. And I think it's really, really amazing. And I think one of the reasons I've started sort of a project like this is also to learn from people that inspire me and that are interesting, that I can learn new things from. So, like the three of you, it's been phenomenal today having a conversation like this, learning what sparks your creativity, how you've gone about growing in your creative journeys, and just learning more and more about that. And I think like all three of you have done with your various different ventures, sort of structuring that community sort of thing and learning from people and just connecting with other sort of creatives is such an amazing thing for me. And that's what I love about the whole sort of process. It's not necessarily about the art per se, but more about the people that are around it. And I really, really enjoy that. So again, I think to wrap up, that's the perfect spot. So thank you all for joining me today. Shane, Molly, Josh.
Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. The three of you inspire me tremendously. It's been amazing today. So thank you for joining. To everyone who's joined us and watched, thanks for putting up with my mumbling. And I think we're very lucky to have everyone joining us here today. So thank you very much. And yeah, I think we're going to end it somewhere.
Cue the outro music.
There's no outro music
Outro
yet.
music.
No,
You
it just kind of,
cut.
it just cuts.
You just cut.
I need outro music. I haven't done it yet though. There are too many things. No, it's just,
This can be your outro.
it's not even a fade. It's just a hard cut. It's just,
It's just like fade, but not even fade to black. It's just cut to black.
but I've got my intro down. My intro is cool.
Just
But
like slowly fade the sound, like the mumbling like we're having now. It's like slowly fade it out. And then it's done.
Or you could just have a clapper noise. It's like, and it's just like,
can't you like beatbox or something?
you're okay. Well, if you start, like, I'll do the backing track.
I'm definitely not. We're ending here. We're done.